The bullet wasn't meant for her. Lena Carter hit the pavement before she even heard the shot. Cold concrete, warm blood spreading beneath her ribs, and a stranger's face hovering above hers, handsome, terrifying, and refusing to let her die. But Dante Russo didn't call 911. He didn't ask questions. He just lifted her like she weighed nothing and carried her into the shadows of a world she didn't know existed. This is their story. A story of survival, betrayal, and the kind of choices that break you or remake you entirely. Stay until the end. Hit that like button. Drop a comment with your city so I can see how far this story travels. The cold hit first. Not the bullet, not the pain, just Chicago wind slicing through Lena's jacket like it had a personal grudge. She'd been standing outside Marcello's, one of those restaurants where the doormen wore nicer shoes than she'd ever owned, waiting for the next delivery ping on her phone. Third shift of the day. Rent was due Friday. Her brother's medication cost more than her car was worth. She needed every dollar. The muzzle flash came from across the street. She didn't see it, didn't hear it, not really. Just felt the punch. Hard, low, right side, just above her hip. Her knees buckled and she went down, phone clattering across the sidewalk, screen cracking against the curb. Her first thought, stupidly, was about the phone. How much a replacement would cost. Her second thought was that she couldn't breathe. The pavement was so cold. She could feel it through her jeans, through her skin, like the city itself was trying to pull the heat out of her. Above, the restaurant's gold-lit windows blurred. Voices somewhere, screaming, maybe. Or maybe that was just the wind. Then a shadow blocked out the light. Don't move. The voice was low, controlled, the kind of calm that came from seeing bad things happen and not flinching. A man crouched beside her, dark suit, expensive, face all sharp angles and colder eyes. He pressed something against her side, his hand, she realized, and the pressure made her gasp. Ambulance, she managed. Her mouth tasted like copper. Call. No. What? He wasn't looking at her. His gaze swept the street, methodical, like he was cataloging threats. Can you stand? I've been shot. I know. Can you stand? This was insane. She tried to push his hand away, but her arm wouldn't cooperate. Everything felt distant, like she was watching herself from underwater. Who are you? Someone who's keeping you alive. He slid one arm under her shoulders, the other beneath her knees. This is going to hurt. It did. He lifted her, and the world went white for a second, pain searing through her side like someone had shoved a hot poker between her ribs. She heard herself make a sound, half scream, half gasp, and his grip tightened. Breathe, he said. Stay with me. She didn't have a choice. He was already moving, carrying her toward Marcello's entrance. The doorman, some kid barely out of college, stood frozen, face pale. Mr. Russo, should I call? Get inside, Russo said. Not loud. Didn't have to be. The doorman jumped aside like he'd been shoved. Lena's vision swam. Warm lighting, white tablecloths, the smell of garlic and wine, faces turning toward them. A woman in pearls gasped. A waiter dropped a tray. Kitchen, Russo said to someone, now. They moved through the dining room like a knife through water, people parting, staring, nobody stopping them. Lena tried to focus, but everything kept sliding, the ceiling tiles above. Russo's face, set and grim. The blood on his shirt, her blood, she realized with a strange detachment. Why? Her tongue felt thick. Why aren't you calling an ambulance? Because whoever shot you is still out there. He shouldered through a swinging door into the kitchen. Stainless steel gleamed under fluorescent lights. A chef looked up, started to protest, then saw Russo's expression and backed away. And if they see an ambulance, they'll know they missed. Missed who? But even as she asked, she knew. The bullet's trajectory. The angle. She'd been standing right in front of the restaurant entrance, right in front of... They were aiming for you, she whispered. Russo laid her on a prep table, steel cold against her back. He grabbed a kitchen towel, pressed it against her wound. The pressure made her vision spark. Probably. Probably? Haven't had time to check the security footage. He glanced at someone behind her. Marco, clear the restaurant, everyone out. Tell them gas leak. Boss, the police will be interested in why someone opened fire on a Friday night in front of 40 witnesses, none of whom got a clean look at the shooter. Russo's hands moved with surprising gentleness, peeling back her jacket. Which means we have maybe 10 minutes before this place is crawling with cops and reporters. So move. Footsteps retreated. Voices rose from the dining room. Confusion, protest, the sharp authority of staff herding customers toward the exits. Lena tried to sit up. Failed. This is crazy. I need a hospital. You need to not bleed out in the next 5 minutes, and I can handle that here. He pulled her shirt up, exposing the wound. His jaw tightened fractionally. Through and through, messy but manageable. You a doctor? No. Then how? I've seen enough bullet wounds to know which ones kill you. He reached for something on a nearby counter. She couldn't see what. This is going to hurt worse than getting shot. She wanted to laugh. Nothing could hurt worse than this. Then he poured something over the wound, alcohol, antiseptic, liquid fire, and she learned she was wrong. Her scream echoed off the kitchen tiles. I know, I know. His voice stayed level, but something in it shifted, went softer. Breathe through it. 3 seconds, 2. Done. The pain crested, broke, settled into a savage throb. Tears ran down her temples into her hair. Above her, the fluorescent lights formed halos, too bright, burning into her retinas. Russo worked quickly, gauze, pressure. His hands were steady, efficient, like he'd done this before. Probably had. She didn't want to think about what kind of life prepared someone to field-dress gunshot wounds in restaurant kitchens. What's your name, Ushas? He asked. Lena. It came out shaky. Lena Carter. Lena, look at me. She did. His eyes were dark, unreadable. You're not going to die, understand? The bullet went through clean, missed everything important. You'll hurt like hell for a few weeks, but you're going to be fine. You can't know that. I do. He taped the gauze down, pulled her shirt back over the dressing. Can you tell me what you remember before the shot? She tried to think past the pain. I was waiting for a delivery order, just standing there. See anyone watching you? It's Chicago. Everyone's watching everyone. Anyone specific, anyone who stood out. She closed her eyes. The street, car headlights, a couple arguing near the corner, taxis blurring past. Nothing unusual. Nothing... Wait. There was a guy, she said slowly, across the street, leaning against a black car. I noticed because he wasn't moving. Everyone else was walking, hurrying, cold out. But he just stood there. What did he look like? Tall, dark jacket, couldn't see his face. She paused. But when a car passed, the headlights hit his hand. He had a tattoo on the back of his wrist. Russo went very still. What kind of tattoo? A chess piece, I think. Dark ink? Rook, maybe? The castle one? She opened her eyes, found him staring at her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. Why? You know him? He didn't answer. Instead, he pulled out his phone, dialed. Someone picked up on the first ring. It's me, Russo said. We have a problem. Rook's back in Chicago. The voice on the other end said something sharp. Russo's expression didn't change, but his knuckles went white around the phone. Marcello's. 10 minutes ago. He listened. No, missed me. Hit a bystander. His eyes flicked to Lena. She saw the tattoo. More talking. Russo's jaw tightened. I don't care what Victor thinks. Rook doesn't miss by accident. He stood pacing to the window, keeping his voice low. He wanted me to know he's here. Wanted me rattled. Lena's head swam. Rook. Victor. Names that sounded pulled from a thriller novel, not her actual life. She tried to sit up again, managed it this time, though the room tilted dangerously. Hey, she said. Who the hell are you people? Russo ended the call, turned to face her. For a moment he just looked at her, measuring something. You should forget this, he said finally. Tonight, me, all of it. Kind of hard to forget getting shot. Tell the police it was random. Wrong place, wrong time. They'll believe it. Chicago's full of random violence. Is that what this was? No. Then what? He crossed back to her, pulled a card from his wallet, set it on the counter. There's a doctor. Private. Discreet. He'll check you over, make sure I didn't miss anything. No questions asked. I don't want your shady doctor. I want to know why someone just tried to kill you and shot me instead. You don't. Actually, I really do, seeing as I'm the one bleeding. Russo exhaled slowly. You seem smart, Lena Carter. Smart enough to know that some questions don't have good answers. Only dangerous ones. Try me. No. I could go to the police. You could. He didn't sound worried. Tell them a mysterious man in a suit dragged you into a restaurant and played field medic. Tell them about the tattoo. They'll take your statement, file a report, and absolutely nothing will happen. Because Rook doesn't exist in any database. Because the kind of people I'm dealing with don't leave evidence. The kind of people. Lena laughed, brittle. You mean criminals? I mean survivors. That's a nice way to say it. His expression hardened. You want the truth? Fine. Yes. I run things the police don't like. I make money the IRS doesn't approve of. And I have enemies. Real ones. The kind who hire professionals to put bullets in me. Tonight you got caught in the middle of something that has nothing to do with you. I'm sorry about that, genuinely. But if you're smart, you'll take the card, see the doctor, and forget this happened. Lena stared at him. He wasn't lying. She could see that much. Whatever else he was, he believed every word he'd just said. What if I can't? She asked quietly. Forget, I mean. Then you're in more danger than you realize. The kitchen door swung open. A woman entered, early 40s, sharp-featured, wearing a black peacoat and an expression that could freeze vodka. She looked at Russo, then at Lena, then at the blood on the floor. Police are 2 minutes out, she said. And we've got a situation. What kind of situation? The kind where security footage from 3 buildings all went dark 30 seconds before the shooting. The woman's voice was crisp, efficient. Professional job, clean. Rook. Or someone who wants us to think it's Rook. She pulled out a tablet, tapped the screen. But that's not the situation I'm talking about. Elena, her phone. The woman, Elena, turned the tablet toward them. On the screen was Lena's phone, cracked but still glowing. The delivery app was open, and beneath it a text message from a number Lena didn't recognize. Tell Russo we're just getting started. The girl has a brother, doesn't she? The pain in Lena's side became irrelevant. What? Her voice came out strangled. What did that... Where's your brother? Russo asked sharply. Home. He's disabled. Muscular dystrophy. He can't... She grabbed for her phone, but Elena pulled it back. Give me that. I need to call him. And tell him what? Elena's eyes were cold. That someone just threatened him? That'll help. He needs to know... He needs to be safe. Russo was already moving, phone to his ear again. Marco, I need a crew at... He looked at Lena. Address. She gave it. Apartment 4C, the building with the broken elevator and neighbors who minded their business a little too well. Russo relayed it, then, 2 guys minimum. Windows, doors, don't let anyone in I haven't cleared. Go now. He hung up, met Lena's eyes. They'll reach him before anyone else does, he said. How do you know? Because if Rook wanted your brother dead, he'd already be dead. This is a message, to me. Using my brother. Fury cut through the fog in her head. Using me. Yes. Why? Because that's how this works. You find the pressure points. You push until something breaks. Russo's voice was matter-of-fact, almost gentle. I'm sorry you're part of this now. Sorry doesn't fix it. No, it doesn't. Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Elena glanced at Russo. We need to move. Agreed. He looked at Lena. You have 2 choices. Come with me, let me protect you and your brother until this is resolved. Or stay, talk to the police, go home, and hope Rook doesn't decide to send another message. That's not a choice. It's the only one you've got. Lena's hands shook. This wasn't real, couldn't be. 6 hours ago, her biggest problem was whether she could afford both groceries and the electric bill. Now she was sitting in a restaurant kitchen, bleeding, while a man who ran an actual criminal empire told her someone was using her family as bait. "If I come with you," she said carefully, "what happens to my brother?" "He comes too. Private facility, medical staff, safe." "For how long?" "As long as it takes." "Takes to what? Kill whoever's after you?" Russo's silence was answer enough. "I don't want to be part of this," Lena said. "Too late. I'm a delivery driver. I don't know anything about your world. You know Rook's tattoo. You're a witness. That makes you valuable. To me, as information. To him, as a loose end. So I'm dead either way. Not if I keep you alive." The sirens were close now, maybe a block away. Elena moved to the door, watching the street through a gap in the blinds. "Dante?" she said. "Now or never." Russo extended his hand to Lena. "Your call." She looked at it. Clean, despite the blood on his shirt. Steady. The hand of someone who didn't shake when things went bad. She thought about Marcus, 17 years old, stuck in that apartment, in that chair with nothing but daytime TV and the nurses who came twice a week. She thought about the text message, the threat, the casual cruelty of using her family to get to someone else. She took Russo's hand. He pulled her upright. The room spun, but his grip kept her steady. "Smart choice," he said. "I didn't have one." "Still smart." They moved through the kitchen, Elena leading, Russo keeping Lena on her feet. The back exit opened into an alley where a black SUV waited, engine running. The driver, young, Latino, trying hard to look calm, jumped out to open the rear door. "Hospital?" he asked. "Penthouse," Russo said. "Fast but careful. No attention." "Got it, boss." They climbed in. The leather seats were cold. Elena took the front passenger seat, pulled out a laptop, started typing. Russo sat beside Lena, pulled a first aid kit from under the seat, checked her dressing. "You're still bleeding," he said. "Feels like it." "We'll be there in 10 minutes. Doctor's meeting us." The SUV pulled out, smooth and quick. Through the tinted windows, Lena saw the restaurant receding. Police cars pulling up, lights painting the street red and blue. A small crowd had gathered. Someone was filming on their phone. Her phone. "My stuff," she said. "My phone, my bag. Already handled." Elena didn't look up from the laptop. "Your bag's in the trunk. Phone's being cleaned. We'll get you a replacement." "I can't afford—" "You're not paying." "I don't want your money." "Then consider it compensation for being shot." Elena's voice was dry. Seemed fair. Lena slumped back against the seat. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving behind exhaustion and a pain that seemed to be spreading, radiating out from her side like cracks in ice. "Where's Marcus?" she asked. Russo checked his phone. "My guy's just arrived. He's fine. Confused, but fine. He'll be scared. They'll explain, carefully. He doesn't trust strangers. He will once he understands what's happening. You can't just take him, Lena." Russo's voice cut through her rising panic. "I'm not taking him. I'm keeping him safe. There's a difference." "Is there?" "Yes. Because when this is over, you both walk away. Free. Unharmed." "You can promise that?" He met her eyes. "I never promise what I can't deliver." The SUV turned onto Lakeshore Drive, skyline glittering to their left, the black expanse of Lake Michigan to their right. Lena had lived in Chicago her whole life, but suddenly it felt alien. A different city, one with hidden layers she'd never noticed. "Who's Rook?" she asked. Elena and Russo exchanged glances. The driver's eyes flicked to the rearview mirror. "An old problem," Russo said finally. "That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting tonight." "Why is he after you?" "Long story. We've got 10 minutes. Russo almost smiled. "Almost. You don't give up, do you?" Giving up doesn't pay rent. Fair. He leaned back, considering. Rook was a fixer. Someone powerful people call when they need a problem to disappear. Permanently. 5 years ago, he was hired to take out a rival family's leadership. Supposed to be clean, professional. Instead, he burned down a restaurant with 18 people inside. Women, children. Didn't care. Lena's stomach turned. And you? What? You stopped him? I testified against the people who hired him. Put 3 of them away for life. Rook disappeared after that. Rumor was he left the country. Guess the rumors were wrong. So this is revenge. Or a job. Someone might have hired him to come after me. Who? That's what I need to find out. Elena spoke without looking up. Security footage from your brother's building shows no activity. Hallway cameras clear. Good. Keep monitoring. Already AM. The SUV slowed, turned into an underground garage. Concrete pillars, dim lighting, rows of expensive cars gleaming in the shadows. They pulled into a reserved spot near an elevator. Penthouse level, Russo said to the driver. Wait here. Anyone asks, you're on break. Yes, sir. They got out. Russo helped Lena to the elevator, hit the button marked PH. The doors closed and they rose smoothly, no sound but the faint hum of machinery. Lena swayed. Russo caught her elbow. Almost there, he said. I might pass out. Try not to. Doctor's not great with drama. Despite everything, she laughed. It hurt. You have a weird sense of humor. You're not the first person to mention it. The elevator opened into a foyer. Marble floors, recessed lighting, artwork that probably cost more than Lena's yearly income. Double doors stood ahead, dark wood with brass handles. Russo unlocked them, guided her inside. The penthouse was ridiculous. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, furniture that belonged in magazines, a kitchen with appliances Lena couldn't even name. Everything clean, modern, expensive. And waiting in the living room, a man in his 60s with wire-rimmed glasses and a medical bag. Dante? He said calmly. Another one? Through and through, right side. I cleaned it, but she needs proper treatment. I'll take it from here. The doctor gestured to a sectional sofa. Let's have a look. Russo helped Lena sit. She was shaking now, shock setting in properly. The doctor opened his bag, pulled on gloves, lifted her shirt with professional detachment. Not bad, he said. Painful, but you'll heal. When's your last tetanus shot? I don't. Years ago? I'll give you another. And antibiotics. You allergic to anything? No. Good. He worked efficiently, cleaning the wound again, applying fresh dressing, muttering about luck and millimeters. Russo stood by the windows, phone to his ear, voice too low to hear. Elena had disappeared into another room. You're going to be sore for weeks, the doctor said, taping the final bandage. No heavy lifting. Change the dressing twice daily. I'll leave supplies. Any fever, excessive pain, you call me immediately. Okay. I mean it. Infections can kill you faster than bullets. Great. Thanks for that image. He smiled faintly. You seem tough. You'll manage. He pulled a syringe from his bag. Tetanus. This'll sting. It did, but compared to getting shot, it barely registered. The doctor packed up, spoke quietly with Russo, then left. Lena sat on the sofa, staring at the city lights, trying to process the last hour. Failed completely. Russo returned, carrying a glass of water and 2 pills. Painkillers, he said. Strong ones. You'll sleep. I can't sleep. Marcus is on his way here. Should arrive in about 20 minutes. You can see him, make sure he's okay, then rest. Lena took the pills, swallowed them with water that tasted filtered and expensive. Her side throbbed with each breath. Why are you doing this? She asked. I told you. You're a witness. You could have left me on the street. Could have. Didn't seem right. You're a criminal. So? Criminals don't usually have morals. Russo sat in the chair across from her. Everyone's got morals. They're just not always the same ones. What are yours? I don't hurt civilians. I don't involve families. And I don't leave people bleeding on sidewalks when it's my fault they got hurt. Noble. Practical. I can live with a lot of things. That's not one of them. Lena studied him. In different lighting, without the blood and chaos, he almost looked normal, tired, human. Then she caught the way his eyes tracked movement in the window's reflection, the tension in his shoulders, the phone within constant reach. Not normal, just good at faking it. What happens now? She asked. Now we wait. I've got people tracking Rook, people protecting your brother, people trying to figure out who hired him and why. And if you don't find out, we will. You sound sure. I am. Rook's good, but he's not invisible. He'll make a move. When he does, we'll be ready. Then what? Then I deal with him. Deal with him how? Russo's expression didn't change. However's necessary. The pills were starting to work. Lena's edges went soft, pain dulling to a manageable ache. She knew she should be more afraid of Russo, of Rook, of whatever she'd fallen into, but exhaustion was winning. I don't even know your first name, she said. Dante. That's dramatic. My mother liked poetry. Mine liked irony. Name me Lena. Light, then stuck me in the darkest apartment in Chicago. Could be worse. How? Could have named you Hope. That's just asking for disappointment. She smiled despite everything. You're weird. I've heard that too. A phone buzzed. Russo checked it, stood. Your brother's here. Lena tried to stand, but her legs weren't cooperating. Russo offered his hand again. This time she took it without hesitation, let him pull her upright. They walked to the elevator. When the doors opened, two men stepped out, both large, both armed, both trying to look non-threatening for the kid in the wheelchair between them. Marcus looked up, saw Lena, and his face crumpled with relief. Lena, what? These guys said you were hurt, that someone... I'm okay. She crossed to him, knelt despite the screaming protest from her side, took his hands. I'm okay. It's complicated, but I'm fine. You're bleeding through your shirt. Just a little. Lena. Marcus. She squeezed his hands. Trust me. We're safe here. This is... She glanced back at Russo. He's helping us. Marcus looked past her, taking in Russo, the penthouse, the armed men. What the hell did you get into? Wrong place, wrong time. That's not an explanation. It's all I've got right now. Russo dismissed the two men with a nod, moved to crouch beside Marcus's chair. I'm Dante Russo. Your sister witnessed something tonight that put her in danger, put you both in danger. Until that's resolved, you're staying here, safe, protected. Marcus stared at him. You're serious? Completely. And if we say no? Then you're risking your lives on the hope that the people after me don't consider you leverage. Marcus processed this. Despite his condition, despite being 17, he'd always been sharp. Had to be, growing up the way they did. How long? He asked. Days? Maybe a week? I've got school, appointments. We'll handle it. I need my medication, specific doses, timing matters. We brought everything from your apartment. Nurse will be here tomorrow to coordinate your care. Marcus looked at Lena. She nodded. They'd learned young not to trust easily, but also when they didn't have options. Okay, Marcus said quietly. Okay. Russo stood. I'll show you your rooms, both connected, private bathroom, anything you need, just ask. He led them down a hallway to a suite that was bigger than their entire apartment. 2 bedrooms with a shared living space. Wide windows, soft carpets, a TV roughly the size of a billboard. Marcus wheeled himself to the window, looked out at the city. This is insane. Yeah, Lena agreed. What did you see? That got us into this? A tattoo on the guy who shot at me. That's it? Apparently that's enough. Marcus turned his chair around. And Russo? He's like mob or something? Or something. Lena, I know. But right now he's the only thing between us and someone who threatens people for a living, so we stay. We cooperate. And when this is over, we leave and never look back. You promise? She crossed to him, kissed the top of his head. I promise. Russo appeared in the doorway. Doctor left antibiotics for you, Lena. And Marcus, Elena's coordinating with your specialists. If you need anything adjusted, tell her. Who's Elena? Marcus asked. My right hand. Smart, efficient, doesn't suffer fools. Sounds delightful. She grows on you. Marcus smiled slightly. I'm tired. Bed's through there, bathroom's stocked. I'll have food sent up. Anything you want. Pizza? Easy. Any preferences? Mushroom and pepperoni. Extra cheese. I'm done. Russo left. Lena helped Marcus into the bedroom, got him settled. He looked small in the king-sized bed, young. She hated that this was happening to him, hated that her choices, her proximity to something she didn't even understand, had dragged him into danger. I'm sorry, she said. Not your fault. Feels like it. Lena, you got shot protecting someone else's secret. If anything, you're the victim here. Doesn't feel that way. He reached for her hand. We've survived worse. Have we? We survived Mom leaving, Dad dying, the system trying to split us up. We survived me getting diagnosed, you dropping out to work 3 jobs. This is just one more thing. She squeezed his fingers. When'd you get so wise? Had a good example. She stayed until he fell asleep, then limped back to her own room. The bed was absurdly comfortable. She peeled off her bloody shirt, left it on the floor, crawled under covers that probably cost more than her car. Sleep took her under like a wave. She woke to sunlight and the smell of coffee. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then her side reminded her, a deep, persistent ache that sharpened when she moved. The clock read 9:47 a.m. She'd slept almost 12 hours. Someone had left clothes on the chair, jeans, a soft sweater, both her size. Creepy or thoughtful, she couldn't decide. She showered carefully, changed the dressing like the doctor instructed, pulled on the new clothes. They fit perfectly, definitely creepy. The living area was empty, but she heard voices from the main room. She followed them, found Russo and Elena at the dining table, laptops open, talking in low tones. Don't buy it, Elena was saying. Rook doesn't work for cheap. Someone with serious money hired him. Agreed, but who? Russo looked up, saw Lena. You're awake. How's the side? Hurts. It will. Coffee? Please. He poured her a cup, black, strong, and gestured to a chair. She sat, grateful. Her legs still felt shaky. Your brother's still sleeping, Russo said. Nurse came by earlier, checked his meds. Everything's on schedule. Thank you. Pizza was a hit, apparently. He ate half the pie. Despite everything, Lena smiled. He would. Elena closed her laptop. We need to talk about next steps. Next steps? What you remember, what you saw. We need details. Lena wrapped her hands around the coffee cup. I told you everything. Guy across the street, dark jacket, tattoo. Think harder, height, build, hair color, anything. It was dark. I was focused on my phone. Before you were focused on your phone. Lena closed her eyes, tried to pull back the memory. The street, the cold, waiting for the ping. She'd looked up once, maybe twice, scanned for the restaurant entrance, and tall, she said slowly. Maybe 6'2", 6'3". Lean but not skinny, moved like, she paused, searching for the right word. Like someone comfortable, confident. No wasted motion. Good. Hair? Dark, short. Age? Couldn't tell. 30s maybe? Could have been older. The car he was leaning against? Make? Model? Black sedan? New? I don't know cars well, but it was nice. Clean. Elena made notes. Anything else? Scars? Jewelry? Distinctive features? Just the tattoo. You're sure it was a rook? Lena opened her eyes. I'm sure. I played chess with my dad when I was a kid. I know what a rook looks like. Russo and Elena exchanged looks again, some silent conversation passing between them. What? Lena asked. What does the tattoo mean? It's his signature, Russo said. Every job he leaves it somewhere, sometimes on the scene, sometimes on the target. On the target? Carved, after. Lena set down her coffee, suddenly nauseous. You're saying he marks people? Like art, sick, but consistent. And he's here for you. Looks that way. Why now? You said 5 years since you testified. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Russo stood, walked to the windows. The morning light made his face look harder, older. Rook doesn't act without reason. Someone paid him. Someone with a grudge and deep pockets. Who has grudges against you? Long list. Narrow it down. He turned, almost smiled. You don't work for me, remember? You're a witness, not an investigator. I'm someone who got shot because of your problems. That buys me some answers. Elena snorted softly. She's got a point. Russo considered. 3 main candidates, the Volkov family. I took their territory 2 years ago. The Italians, remnants of the old guard who don't like how I run things. And a wild card, a cop named Hayes, corrupt detective who I've been quietly undermining. A cop hired an assassin? Hayes has resources, connections. He's dirty enough that it's possible. So what's the plan? Wait for him to try again? No, I draw him out. How? By making myself a target. Lena laughed, sharp. That's your plan? Get shot. Controlled environment, my people, cameras. When he shows, we take him. And if it goes wrong, it won't. You can't know that. I can know that I'm better at this than he is. Elena stood. I've got feelers out, checking flights into O'Hare, rental cars, hotel bookings. If Rook's here, he left a trail. Keep on it. She nodded, left the room. Lena stayed seated, watching Russo. He looked tired, not exhausted. This wasn't someone who exhausted easily, but worn, like he'd been fighting for too long. You don't have to do this alone, she said. I'm not. I've got Elena, Marco, a dozen others. I meant... She stopped. Didn't know what she meant. Never mind. Russo crossed back to the table, sat across from her. You're not responsible for this, Lena. Feels like I should help. You did. You told us about the tattoo. That's enough. Is it? Yes. She didn't believe him but didn't argue. Instead, she asked, what happens when you catch him? That depends. On what? On whether he talks. And if he doesn't? Russo's expression went flat, empty. The kind of empty that came from making hard choices and living with them. Then I make sure he can't hurt anyone else. You mean kill him? I mean protect the people I'm responsible for. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting. They sat in silence. Outside, Chicago woke up. Traffic sounds, distant sirens, the hum of a city that never quite stopped. Lena thought about her old life. Deliveries, bills, small problems that felt enormous. Now those problems seemed laughably simple. I want to see the security footage, she said. Why? Because maybe I'll remember something else, something that helps. Russo studied her. You sure? It's not pleasant. I got shot. I think I can handle video. He pulled out his phone, tapped a few times, then slid it across the table. The footage was grainy, black and white, time-stamped 10:47 p.m. Lena watched herself standing outside Marcello's, phone in hand, casual, unsuspecting. Then the angle shifted, another camera, across the street, the black sedan, and leaning against it, exactly as she'd described, a figure. The camera zoomed, not far, but enough. She could see him better now, tall, lean, dark jacket, face partially obscured by shadows, but she paused the video. Can you enhance this? Already tried. Resolution's too poor. But there, she pointed, right there, when the car passes. The light hits his face, just for a second. Russo took the phone, replayed the moment frame by frame. The headlights swept across the figure's face. For just an instant, features resolved. Sharp cheekbones, thin lips, and eyes that even in grainy footage looked cold, empty. You recognize him? Lena asked. No, but I know the look. What look? Someone who doesn't feel much, kills like it's a job. Because it is. Lena shivered. How do you fight someone like that? Carefully. Russo pocketed the phone. and by being smarter. Are you smarter? We'll find out. The rest of the day passed in strange limbo. Marcus woke around noon, had breakfast, or lunch, he wasn't sure, and spent the afternoon watching movies. Elena came and went, always on her phone, always working some angle. Russo disappeared into his office, emerged occasionally to check on them. Lena felt useless, restless. She paced the penthouse until her side protested, then sat by the windows and watched the city. Normal people down there, living normal lives. No bullets, no threats, no assassins with chest piece tattoos. She envied them. Evening came. Dinner was delivered, Thai food that Marcus inhaled and Lena picked at. Too much adrenaline, not enough appetite. Russo joined them, ate in silence. Marcus tried to make conversation, asked about the building, the security, whether there was a gym. Russo answered patiently, didn't push. Lena appreciated that. He could have been intimidating, could have used his power to scare or control. Instead, he was just present, calm. It made trusting him easier, and that worried her. After dinner, Marcus retreated to his room to game. Lena stayed in the living area, staring at nothing. "You okay?" Russo asked. "Define okay." "Fair." He sat beside her, not close, respecting space. "This is a lot." Understatement. "You holding up? Do I have a choice?" "Always. Even if they're all bad choices." She looked at him. "How do you live like this?" "Like what?" "Looking over your shoulder, never knowing who's coming for you." "You get used to it. Do you?" He paused. "No, not really." "Then why do it?" "Because the alternative is worse." "What's the alternative?" "Weakness, vulnerability, letting people take what's yours because you're not strong enough to stop them." His voice was quiet, almost introspective. "I grew up with nothing. Watched my father work himself to death for pennies. Watched my mother cry when she couldn't afford groceries. Swore I'd never be powerless like that. So I built something, took control. And yeah, that comes with enemies. But at least I'm not helpless." "You think power makes you safe?" "No, but it makes you dangerous. And dangerous is better than victim." Lena turned back to the window. "I spent my whole life trying not to be dangerous. Just wanted simple, quiet." "How'd that work out?" "Got me shot." "Exactly." He stood. "Simple's a luxury. World doesn't care what you want. It's going to hit you either way. Only question is whether you hit back." He left her alone with that. She sat for a long time, thinking. About Marcus. About the life they'd built from scraps and stubbornness. About how quickly it could all fall apart. About whether Russo was right. Around midnight, she finally went to bed. Sleep came harder this time, pain and anxiety warring for dominance. She drifted in and out, half dreams full of gunfire and cold streets and eyes that didn't blink. Somewhere around 3 a.m., her phone buzzed. The new one Russo had given her. She grabbed it, squinting at the screen. Unknown number. A text. "Still breathing? Impressive. Let's see how long that lasts." Below it, a photo. Her apartment building, taken from across the street. Recent. She could see the broken streetlight they'd been reporting for months. And standing in the foreground, barely visible in the shadows, a figure. Tall, lean, watching. Lena's hands shook. She was out of bed before she consciously decided to move, limping down the hallway to Russo's office. Light showed under the door. She knocked. "Dante? Come in." She pushed through. He was at his desk, paperwork spread out, looking like he hadn't slept at all. He saw her face. "What happened?" She showed him the phone. His expression went hard. Cold, the kind of cold that made the room temperature drop. "When?" he asked. "Just now." He pulled out his own phone, dialed. "Marco, status on the Carter apartment." Pause. "Check again. Someone was there tonight." "I don't care if the cameras didn't catch it. He's better than your cameras." Another pause. Russo's jaw tightened. "Pull back. He's baiting us. Wants us scrambling." He hung up, met Lena's eyes. "He's playing with us." "Why?" "Because he can. Because making us afraid is part of the game. I'm not afraid. Russo's expression softened fractionally. You should be. Fear keeps you sharp. Or it paralyzes you. Not you. You're tougher than you think. She wanted to believe him. What do we do? We move up the timeline. For what? The trap. I was going to wait a few days, gather more intel, but Rook's accelerating, which means we accelerate too. When? Tomorrow night. That's fast. Fast is all we've got. He stood, came around the desk. I need you to trust me. I barely know you. I know, but I'm asking anyway. Lena looked at the phone in her hand. The message, the threat, the casual cruelty of someone who killed for money and slept fine after. She looked back at Russo. Complicated, dangerous, maybe even evil by some definitions, but standing between her and something worse. Okay, she said, I trust you. Don't hear it, he replied. Trust is how you get hurt. Just believe I'll keep you alive. That's enough. It wasn't, but it would have to be. The trap was simple. Too simple, Lena thought, listening to Russo explain it for the third time. But sometimes simple was all you had. I'll be at the old Riverside warehouse, Russo said, spreading a map across the dining table. Public enough that Rook will know about it, isolated enough that civilians won't get caught in crossfire. Elena traced a finger along the warehouse perimeter. We'll have teams here, here, and here. Rooftop coverage. Street exits blocked. The moment he shows, we box him in. And if he doesn't show? Marcus asked. He'd insisted on sitting in, wheelchair pulled up to the table like this was a strategy meeting he had every right to attend, which Lena supposed he did. His life was on the line too. He'll show, Russo said. He's been pushing us, testing responses. He won't pass up a clean shot. How do you know it'll be clean? Lena asked. Because I'm making it look clean. Just me. Walking the perimeter, checking inventory. Routine business. Russo's voice was flat, mechanical. He'd explained this part twice already. He thinks he's hunting, doesn't realize he's the prey. Unless he does realize, Elena said, in which case this gets messy fast. Everything gets messy. Question is whether we control the mess or it controls us. Lena studied the map. The warehouse sat on the river's edge, industrial area. Lots of concrete and metal and places to hide. You're using yourself as bait. Yes. That's stupid. It's necessary. Those aren't mutually exclusive. Russo almost smiled. Fair point. Marcus leaned forward, squinting at the map. What about exits? If he gets past your teams, he won't. But if he does, then we have a problem. Elena pulled up photos on her tablet. But we've accounted for every route. Water, street, rooftop. He'd have to ghost through walls to escape. People always say that before things go wrong, Marcus muttered. Lena caught Russo's eye. He looked tired. Not defeated. She didn't think he knew how to look defeated, but worn thin. Like he'd been running on willpower alone for too long. When's this happening? She asked. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. That's barely 24 hours. Like I said, fast is all we've got. What do you need from us? Stay here, stay safe, let me handle this. That's it? We just wait? Yes. Lena wanted to argue, wanted to insist she could help somehow, but what could she do? She was a delivery driver with a gunshot wound and zero combat training. Marcus was in a wheelchair. They'd be liabilities, not assets. Okay, she said quietly. We'll stay. Russo's expression softened fractionally. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just don't get killed. Wasn't planning on it. Elena closed her tablet. I've got final prep to handle. Marco's running equipment checks. We should be ready by midnight tonight. Good. Keep me updated. She left. Marcus wheeled back from the table. I'm going to go call Mom's old friend, Sarah. She checks on us sometimes. Make sure she knows we're okay. Don't tell her where we are, Russo said. I'm not an idiot. Didn't say you were. Marcus left too, leaving Lena alone with Russo. The silence stretched. Outside, afternoon sun painted the city gold and gray. You don't have to do this, Lena said. We've established that I do. You could run, disappear, start over somewhere Rook won't find you. Russo shook his head. Running doesn't work. Not from people like him. They're patient. They'll wait years if they have to. Better to face it now, on my terms. What if your terms aren't good enough? Then I die, but at least you and Marcus walk away clean. That's not comforting. Wasn't meant to be. He stood, stretched. Something in his back cracked. But it's the truth. This ends tomorrow, one way or another. You keep saying that, like you're certain. I am. How? Because I've been doing this longer than Rook's been hunting me. I know how these things end. Lena stood too, slower, her side protesting. And how do they end? With someone dead and someone walking away. Which one are you planning to be? The one walking. She wanted to believe him, wanted to think he was invincible, untouchable, that tomorrow would go exactly as planned. But she'd seen enough of life to know plans were just wishes with extra steps. I'm scared, she admitted. Good. Fear keeps you alive. You said that before. Still true. She crossed to the window, pressed her palm against the glass, cold, solid, real. I don't know how you do this, live with this kind of pressure. You get used to it. You also said you don't get used to it. Guess I contradict myself sometimes. Dante, Lena. He came to stand beside her, close enough that she could feel his presence, far enough to not crowd. I'm not going to die tomorrow. I'm good at what I do. I've survived worse than Rook, and I've got people watching my back who are just as good. People die even when they're good. Yes, but not tomorrow, not me. She turned to face him, studied his expression, looking for doubt, for fear, for anything that suggested he was as human and breakable as she felt. Found nothing, just certainty, absolute and unshakable. You're either the bravest person I've met or the most delusional, she said. Probably both. Despite everything, she laughed. Yeah, probably. The rest of the day crawled. Lena tried to distract herself, TV, books, staring at the ceiling, but nothing worked. Her mind kept circling back to tomorrow. To Russo standing alone in a warehouse while someone with dead eyes lined up a shot. Marcus noticed. He always noticed. You're spiraling, he said over dinner. Pizza again. Apparently Russo's people had a standing account with half the restaurants in Chicago. I'm not. You've been staring at that same slice for 10 minutes. Lena set down the pizza. I'm fine. You're a terrible liar. Learned from the best. Marcus smiled slightly. Dad was pretty bad at it, too. The smile faded. You think this is going to work? Tomorrow? I don't know. But you hope it does? Yeah, I hope. Because of Russo. She glanced at him sharply. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, just you seem to trust him, more than you usually trust people. He's keeping us alive. That's not what I meant. Lena knew exactly what he meant, didn't want to examine it too closely. He's complicated and dangerous, and definitely not someone I should trust. But right now he's the only option we've got. You didn't answer the question. There wasn't a question. Marcus took a bite of pizza, chewed thoughtfully. He looks at you weird. Weird how? Like you're a puzzle he's trying to solve. Everyone's a puzzle to guys like him. Maybe, but he doesn't look at Elena like that. Or me. Just you. Lena didn't know what to do with that information, so she filed it away and changed the subject. How's your pain today? Manageable. The nurse who came by is good, knows her stuff. Good. Lena? Yeah? After this is over, when we go home, are we going to be okay? The question hit harder than it should have, because truthfully, Lena didn't know. Someone had threatened Marcus, sent photos. Even if Russo dealt with Rook, what stopped the next threat? The next dangerous person who decided they were useful leverage? We'll figure it out, she said. That's not an answer. It's all I've got. He wheeled closer, took her hand. His fingers were thin, fragile-looking, but stronger than people expected. I know you're trying to protect me. You always do. But I'm not a kid anymore. You can tell me when things are bad. Things are bad. I mean really bad. Unfixable bad. Lena squeezed his hand. I don't think anything's unfixable, just some fixes take longer than others. You sound like a fortune cookie. Rude. True, though. She pulled him into a hug, careful of his chair, of her wound. He hugged back, tight. They stayed like that for a while. Two people who'd survived everything life threw at them by refusing to let go of each other. When they finally separated, Marcus's eyes were wet. We're going to be okay, Lena said, trying to convince herself as much as him. Yeah, Marcus whispered. We are. That night, sleep was impossible. Lena lay in bed watching shadows move across the ceiling, listening to the city hum below. Somewhere out there, Rook was watching too. Waiting. Planning. Around 2 a.m., she gave up, pulled on a robe, padded out to the living area. Found Russo at the dining table, laptop open, schematics of the warehouse glowing on the screen. Can't sleep? He asked without looking up. Apparently not. You? Sleep's overrated, said every exhausted person ever. He glanced at her, almost smiled. Fair. She poured herself water from the kitchen, came back to stand behind him. The schematics were detailed, entry points, exit routes, sight lines, all marked in different colors. You've done this before, she said. Set traps? Once or twice. And? Usually works, sometimes doesn't. He zoomed in on the rooftop access. That's why we planned for both. Contingencies. Lots of them. Lena circled the table, sat across from him. Can I ask you something? Depends what. Why'd you really help me? That first night. You could have walked away. Let me bleed. Blamed it on random violence, like you said. Russo leaned back, considered. Honest answer? Preferably. Don't know. He rubbed his eyes, looked older suddenly. More human. Instinct, maybe. You were there because of me. Seemed wrong to leave you. Most criminals don't think that way. I'm not most criminals. No, you're worse. Probably. But also better. He looked at her, really looked, like he was trying to figure out if she meant it. That doesn't make sense. Neither do you. Also fair. They sat in comfortable silence. Lena sipped her water. Russo went back to his schematics, making small adjustments, muttering to himself. Dante? Yeah? Don't die tomorrow. He stopped typing, met her eyes. Wasn't planning on it. Plans change. Not this one. Promise me. Lena, promise. Something shifted in his expression, softened. Okay, I promise. She didn't believe him, but hearing it helped anyway. Morning came too fast. Lena woke to pale sunlight and the smell of coffee. Someone, probably Elena, had left breakfast on the counter. Bagels, fruit, juice. She ate without tasting, showered mechanically, dressed in clothes that still felt too nice to be hers. Marcus was already awake, planted in front of the TV watching some cooking show. He looked calm, too calm. You okay? Lena asked. Fine. Marcus, I'm fine, Lena. Stop asking. She sat beside him. On screen, someone was making pasta from scratch. It looked exhausting. Tonight's going to be weird, she said. Everything's been weird. Weirder than usual. That's saying something. They watched in silence. The chef explained the importance of semolina flour. Marcus looked fascinated. Lena felt nothing but a low-level anxiety that wouldn't quit. Around noon, Russo emerged from his office looking like he'd actually slept. Probably hadn't, but he wore it well. Everything's set, he told them. Teams are positioning now. Equipment's checked. We're ready. That fast? Lena asked. Told you. Fast is all we've got. Elena appeared behind him, phone to her ear, nodding at whatever she was hearing. She hung up, looked at Russo. Perimeter's clear. No sign of movement yet. He'll wait until tonight. Darkness gives him cover. Gives us cover too. That's the idea. Lena stood. What do we do? You stay here, both of you. Marco's downstairs with 2 others. This place is locked down tight. And you? I leave at 7. Get to the warehouse. Make it look routine. Russo checked his watch. 5 hours. 5 hours felt like both an eternity and no time at all. The afternoon passed in slow agony. Russo disappeared again, presumably to finalize details. Elena came and went, always moving, always working. Marcus watched more TV. Lena paced until her side hurt, then sat until restlessness drove her up again. Around 6, Russo reappeared, changed clothes. Dark jeans, black jacket, nothing flashy. He looked like a regular person, which Lena knew was the point. Blend in. Don't stand out. "I'm heading down," he said. "Marco knows to call you if anything changes." "Okay." He paused, looked at her, then at Marcus. "When this is over, we'll talk about next steps. Getting you home safe, making sure you stay that way." "Just come back first," Lena said. "That's the plan." He left. The elevator doors closed behind him, and suddenly the penthouse felt too quiet, too empty. Marcus wheeled over to her. "He'll be fine." "You don't know that. Neither do you, so might as well assume the best." "Since when are you optimistic?" Since being pessimistic didn't help anything. Lena pulled him close, kissed the top of his head. "When did you get so smart?" "Always was. You just never noticed." 7 p.m. came and went. Elena texted updates. Russo arrived at warehouse, teams in position. No sign of target yet. 7:30, still nothing. 8 p.m. Russo doing perimeter check. Everything quiet. Too quiet, Lena thought. Rook was out there, watching. Why wasn't he moving? 8:15. Elena's text was shorter. Movement detected north side. Could be him. Lena's heart hammered. Marcus gripped the arms of his wheelchair, knuckles white. 8:20, confirmed visual. Subject matching description approaching from river access. 8:25. Subject in range. Teams moving to intercept. 8:30. Nothing. Lena stared at her phone. No new messages, no updates. Just silence. "What's happening?" Marcus whispered. "I don't know." 8:35, still nothing. 8:40, 8:45. Then, finally, at 8:50, her phone rang. "Elena," Lena answered. "What happened?" "We got him." Elena's voice was tight, controlled. "He's down. Russo's fine." Relief hit like a wave. "You're sure?" "Positive. Rook's in custody. Medics are checking Russo now. He took a graze to the shoulder, but nothing serious." A graze? Bullet skimmed him. Barely broke skin. He's already complaining about the fuss. Despite everything, Lena smiled. That sounds like him. "We're bringing them both back. Should be there in 30 minutes. "Both?" "Russo and Rook. We're keeping Rook contained until we figure out who hired him." "He's cooperating?" "Not yet, but he will." Elena's voice went hard. "One way or another." She hung up. Lena lowered the phone, looked at Marcus. "They got him," she said. Marcus exhaled shakily. "Really? Really? And Russo? Barely scratched. Thank God." They waited. 30 minutes felt like 30 hours. Lena couldn't sit still. Marcus tried to distract himself with TV, but gave up after 5 minutes. They both just stared at the elevator, willing it to open. Finally, at 9:20, it did. Russo stepped out. Blood on his jacket. Not much, just a dark stain near his left shoulder. Elena behind him, phone still glued to her ear. And behind her, 2 large men flanking a third figure. Rook. He was smaller than Lena expected. Not short, but lean. Wiry. Dark hair, sharp features, and eyes that looked exactly like they had in the grainy security footage. Cold. Empty. Like looking into a well with no bottom. His hands were zip-tied behind his back. He wasn't struggling, wasn't even looking around, just stared straight ahead like none of this mattered. Russo saw Lena watching. "Don't engage with him." "Wasn't planning on it." "Good." The 2 men hauled Rook toward a room off the main hallway, not gently. He stumbled but didn't make a sound. The door closed behind them with a heavy click. Elena finished her call. "Buildings secure. No signs of backup or secondary teams. Looks like he was working alone." "Or his backup's smarter than we think," Russo said. "Always a possibility." Russo peeled off his jacket, wincing slightly. Beneath, his shirt was torn where the bullet had skimmed. Blood, but not much. The medic had been right. Barely a scratch. Lena crossed to him. You okay? Fine, told you I would be. You also got shot. Barely counts. Ah, still counts. Marcus wheeled over. What happens now? Now we talk to him, Elena said. Find out who's paying his bills. And if he doesn't talk? Lena asked. Everyone talks eventually. Russo's voice was flat, matter of fact. Just depends how long it takes. Lena didn't want to think about what that meant. The next hour was tense. Russo and Elena disappeared into the room with Rook. Lena and Marcus sat in the living area, trying not to imagine what was happening behind that closed door. Voices occasionally drifted out, low, controlled, never raised, which somehow made it worse. Around 10:30, the door opened. Russo emerged alone, face grim. Well? Lena asked. He's not talking. Yet. Russo ran a hand through his hair. But he will. I've got leverage. What kind of leverage? The kind that makes people reconsider their loyalties. Dante. Leave it, Lena. You don't want details. She probably didn't, but part of her wondered what it took to break someone like Rook. What methods Russo considered acceptable. What lines he was willing to cross. Elena appeared in the doorway. He wants to negotiate. Russo's expression hardened. With what? Information. Says he'll give us one name, the person who hired him, in exchange for immunity. Immunity from what? Us. Says he knows we can make him disappear. Wants assurance we won't. Russo laughed, short, bitter. He's got nerve. Is it true? Lena asked quietly. Can you make him disappear? Russo looked at her. Didn't answer, which was answer enough. Do we take the deal? Elena asked. Depends what name he gives us. Could be a lie. Could be. But if it's true, it ends this. And if it's not? Then we're back where we started. Elena nodded. I'll tell him we're considering it. She went back inside. Russo stayed in the hallway, staring at nothing. You're not going to take his deal, Lena said. Didn't say that. But you're thinking it. I'm thinking deals with people like Rook are worthless. He'll say whatever keeps him alive longest. Doesn't mean it's true. So what's the alternative? Keep pushing until he breaks, or until we find the information another way. How long will that take? Days? Maybe weeks. We don't have weeks. I know. Marcus wheeled closer. What if he's telling the truth? What if he does know who hired him? Then we get a name and nothing else. No proof. No way to verify. Just his word against whoever he's accusing. Better than nothing, Lena said. Is it? If the name is wrong, if he's covering for the real employer, we waste time chasing ghosts while the actual threat walks free. So you're gambling either way? Yes. Question is which gamble has better odds? The door opened again. This time Rook himself stepped out, flanked by the two guards. His hands were still zip-tied, but his expression was almost relaxed, like this was mildly inconvenient rather than life-threatening. He looked directly at Russo. I'll give you the name. One condition. I don't negotiate with you, Russo said. Then enjoy spending the next month trying to break me, by which time my employer will have moved on. Covered their tracks. You'll have nothing. Or you're bluffing and have nothing to give. Rook smiled, thin, sharp. Try me. Russo stared at him. The air between them felt charged, dangerous. What's the condition? Russo asked finally. The girl hears it too. Everyone looked at Lena. She felt her stomach drop. What? You. Rook's empty eyes fixed on her. You're the reason I missed my shot. The reason I'm here instead of on a plane to Prague, so you get to know who put you in my crosshairs. I don't want... Lena doesn't need to be part of this, Russo cut in. Then no deal. Rook shrugged. Your choice. Lena's mind raced. This was a game to him, some sick way of exerting control even while captured. But if he really did have a name, if he could end this, fine, she said. I'll listen. Lena, Russo started. It's fine. Let him talk. Russo's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Say what you're going to say. Rook's smile widened fractionally. The person who hired me, who wanted you dead and didn't care who got caught in the crossfire. He paused for effect. Detective Raymond Hayes, Chicago PD, your old friend. Silence. Then Russo laughed. Actually laughed. Hayes, of course. You knew? Elena asked. Suspected. Didn't have proof. Russo's expression went cold. Now I do. You believe him? Lena asked. Unfortunately, yes. Hayes has motive. He's dirty enough. And he's stupid enough to hire Rook without considering the consequences. So what now? Now we bring Hayes in, have a conversation. You can't just kidnap a police detective. Russo looked at her like she'd said something adorable and naive. Watch me. Rook cleared his throat. About that immunity? You get to live, Russo said. That's your immunity. Be grateful. That wasn't the deal. There is no deal. You're here because I allow it. You talk because it's smarter than staying silent, but don't mistake that for leverage. Rook's expression flickered, just for a second. Fear, maybe, or recognition that he'd miscalculated. Take him back, Russo told the guards. They hauled Rook away. He went without protest this time. When the door closed, Elena pulled out her phone. I'll locate Hayes. Shouldn't be hard. Do it quiet. I don't want him spooked. Understood. She left. Russo turned to Lena and Marcus. You two should sleep. This is going to take time. I'm not tired, Lena said. Didn't ask if you were tired, asked you to sleep. You're not my boss. No, but I'm trying to keep you alive, which means you need rest. Dante, Lena. His voice was gentle but firm. Please, let me handle this part. She wanted to argue, wanted to insist she stay involved, but exhaustion was winning and her side ached and Marcus looked ready to collapse. Fine, she said, but you wake me if anything changes. Deal. They retreated to their rooms. Marcus fell asleep almost immediately, his soft snoring audible through the connecting door. Lena lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Hayes. A cop. Someone who was supposed to protect people, instead hiring assassins and threatening innocent families. The world was uglier than she'd realized, or maybe she'd always known and just refused to see it. She must have dozed off because when she woke it was after 3 a.m. The penthouse was dark, quiet. She got up, padded to the living area. Russo sat by the windows, drink in hand, staring out at the city. He didn't turn when she approached. Can't sleep? He asked. Apparently not. You? Gave up trying. She sat beside him. Outside, Chicago glittered, beautiful and indifferent. Did you find Hayes? She asked. Elena's tracking him. Should have a location by morning. Then what? Then we have a conversation. Find out who else is involved. How deep this goes. And after that? After that, you and Marcus go home. This ends. Just like that. Just like that. Lena wanted to believe him. What about people like Hayes? There's always another one. Another threat. True, but that's my problem, not yours. Feels like it became my problem when I got shot. Temporary problem. Once Hayes is handled, you're clear. No connection to me. No reason for anyone to target you. You make it sound simple. It is simple. Not easy, but simple. She turned to look at him, profile sharp against the window's glow. Thank you. For everything. Don't thank me yet. We're not done. Still, you could have left me on that street. Didn't. Couldn't. Why not? He was quiet for a long moment, then, because walking away from people who need help isn't who I am. Whatever else I've done, whatever lines I've crossed, I don't leave people to die when I can save them. That's why you do this? Build your empire? To save people? No. I built it because I was angry and ambitious and wanted control. Saving people is just a side effect sometimes. You're complicated. You've mentioned that. They sat in silence. Comfortable. Easy. like they'd known each other longer than 3 days. "What'll you do?" Lena asked. "After this is over?" "Oh, same thing I always do. Survive, keep building, stay ahead of the next threat." Sounds exhausting. It is. Ever think about stopping? He smiled slightly. Every day. But you won't. No, stopping means weakness. Weakness means death. Or it means peace. Not in my world. Lena thought about that, about living in constant motion, always looking over your shoulder, never resting. "I don't know how you do it." "No, you'd be surprised what you can do when the alternative is worse." "Maybe." They fell quiet again. Lena felt sleep pulling at her but didn't want to leave, didn't want to break whatever this moment was. "Dante?" "Yeah?" "After we leave, after this is over, will I see you again?" He looked at her, really looked. Something in his expression she couldn't name. Probably not. It's safer that way. Safer for who? For you. What if I don't want safe? Lena, I'm just saying. Maybe safe is overrated. It's not. How do you know? Because I've seen what happens when people like you get too close to people like me. It never ends well. You don't know that. I do. She wanted to argue, wanted to say he was wrong, that things could be different, but his expression was closed, final. The conversation was over. "Okay," she said quietly. "Safer it is." He nodded, looked back out the window, and Lena went back to bed, feeling something she couldn't name settling heavy in her chest. Morning came gray and cold. Elena woke them with news. Hayes was at home, alone. Perfect opportunity. Russo was already dressed, ready. "I'm bringing him here, should be back by noon." "You're going alone?" Lena asked. "Taking Marco. We'll be fine." Famous last words. "I'll be careful." "You better be." He left with Marco. The penthouse felt empty without them. Lena and Marcus tried to occupy themselves, but everything felt like waiting, watching the clock, counting minutes. 11 a.m. came and went. No word. 11:30, noon, 12:15. Finally, at 12:30, the elevator opened. Russo stepped out, followed by Marco and a third man. Hayes. He looked exactly like Lena imagined a corrupt cop would. Middle-aged, thick around the middle, eyes that darted everywhere like he was calculating exits. His hands were cuffed in front of him. "Sit," Russo told him, gesturing to a chair. Hayes sat, tried to look defiant but mostly looked scared. Russo stood over him. "You hired Rook to kill me. I don't know what you don't waste my time. Rook already gave you up. Question is who you're working with. Nobody, just me." "Wrong answer. Try again." Hayes swallowed hard. "I'm serious. It was just me. You've been causing problems, interfering with operations. I wanted you gone." "What operations?" "Ones you don't need to know about." Russo's expression went dangerous. "Detective, you're in my home, cuffed, surrounded. This is not the time for bravado. You can't touch me. I'm a cop. You're a criminal pretending to be a cop. There's a difference. I've got, what, backup? Evidence? Friends in high places?" Russo leaned closer. "None of that matters anymore. You hired an assassin, threatened civilians, sent photos to a teenager to scare his sister. You think anyone's coming to save you?" Hayes' face went pale. "I didn't. That wasn't. Whose idea was it?" "Mine. I swear, just mine." Lena stepped forward. "You're lying." Hayes looked at her, blinked. "Who?" "The girl you had Rook threaten. The one who got shot because of you." Lena's voice shook, but she kept going. "You sent photos of my apartment. Threatened my brother. Now you're going to sit there and lie about working alone?" "I'm not." "Yes, you are. Because guys like you don't do anything alone. You're too scared, too weak. So who's pulling your strings?" Hayes' mouth opened, closed. He looked at Russo. "You going to let her talk to me like that?" "Why wouldn't I?" Russo asked mildly. "She's a civilian. So is her brother. Didn't stop you from threatening him. That was just to rattle you. Wasn't serious." Felt serious when I got the text, Lena said. Look, I'm sorry about that, really, but no buts. Russo's voice cut through. Names. Who else is involved? Hayes hesitated. Lena could see the calculation happening. Weigh loyalty against survival. See which mattered more. If I tell you, Hayes said slowly, what happens to me? Depends what you tell me. I need guarantees. You need to understand you don't have leverage. I could go to the FBI, tell them everything. You could. They'd be very interested in your connection to organized crime, and whatever happens to me, you'd still go to prison. Hayes deflated. Volkov. Alexei Volkov. He's the one who wanted you gone. Russo went very still. Volkov hired you? Indirectly, through intermediaries, but yeah. He's been planning this for months. I was just part of the plan. What plan? Take you down, take your territory, rebuild the old networks you destroyed. And Rook? Volkov's idea. I just made the connection, arranged payment. Russo and Elena exchanged glances, something passing between them. Understanding, maybe, or confirmation of suspicions. Where's Volkov now? Elena asked. I don't know. He moves around, stays off grid. Not good enough. I'm serious. I only ever met him once. Everything else was phone calls, encrypted. Russo pulled out his phone, showed Hayes a photo. This your contact? Hayes studied it, nodded. Yeah, that's him. Good. Russo pocketed the phone. Marco, take him to the spare room. Keep him there. Wait, you said if I cooperated. I said it depended what you told me. You told me enough to be useful, not enough to buy freedom. You can't keep me here. Watch me. Marco hauled Hayes away. His protests faded as the door closed. Lena looked at Russo. Volkov, that's bad, isn't it? Very bad. How bad? The kind of bad that means this isn't over, not even close. Elena was already typing before Russo finished speaking. Her fingers moved fast across her laptop, pulling up files, cross-referencing data. If Volkov's involved, this is bigger than we thought. How much bigger? Lena asked. Russo moved to the window, stared out at the city like he could see threats forming in the skyline. Alexei Volkov runs what's left of the old Russian networks. Arms, drugs, people, anything that makes money and breaks laws. 2 years ago, I took 3 of his distribution hubs. Cost him millions. He swore he'd get even. Guess he meant it, Marcus said quietly from his wheelchair. Apparently. Russo's voice was flat, controlled, but Lena could see tension in his shoulders, the way his hand kept drifting to his phone. So what's the play? Elena asked without looking up. We can't hit him directly, not without starting a war. War might be inevitable. War is expensive, messy, bad for business. So is getting killed. Elena finally looked up, met his eyes. You want my honest opinion? Always. We use Hayes. He's our proof. Take him to the feds. Let them handle Volkov. Russo laughed, short, bitter. The feds? You think they'll move on this? They will if we give them enough. And how long does that take? Weeks? Months? While they build a case, Volkov sends the next hitter, and the one after that. So we go to ground, disappear until the heat dies. Running doesn't solve this. Neither does charging in blind. They stared at each other. Some argument they'd probably had 100 times playing out in silence. Finally, Elena shook her head, went back to her laptop. Your call, she said. But for the record, I think you're making a mistake. Noted. Lena moved closer to Russo, lowered her voice. She's right. Going after Volkov is suicide. Maybe. Not maybe. Definitely. You said yourself he's got resources. People. If you push him, he'll push back harder. He's already pushing. Hiring Rook was just the opening move. Then don't give him the satisfaction of a response. Be smart. Russo looked at her. Something in his expression shifted, softened fractionally. When did you get so tactical? When I started caring whether you live or die. The words hung between them. Lena hadn't meant to say it like that. hadn't meant to admit she cared. But it was too late now. Russo's jaw tightened. Lena, don't do something stupid because you're angry. I'm not angry. You're furious. I can see it. What you see is me calculating odds. And what are the odds? He didn't answer, which was answer enough. Marcus cleared his throat. Can I say something? Everyone looked at him. He wheeled forward, navigating around the furniture with practiced ease. You're all thinking about this wrong, he said. Volkov doesn't want a war either. Wars cost him too. So he hired Rook to make a point, show he can reach you, but he's also using Hayes, a cop, as a cutout. Why? Deniability, Elena said slowly. If Rook got caught, the trail stops at Hayes, doesn't lead back to Volkov. Exactly. Which means Volkov's scared of direct confrontation too. He wants you gone, but he wants it clean, untraceable. Russo studied Marcus with new interest. You're sharper than you look. Thanks, I think. So if he wants clean, Lena said, following the logic, what happens when you make it messy? He escalates, Elena said, stops hiding, comes at us full force. Or, Marcus countered, he backs off, cuts his losses, decides you're more trouble than you're worth. That's optimistic, Russo said, but possible. Russo was quiet for a long moment, thinking, calculating. Whatever happened behind those dark eyes, Lena couldn't read it. There's a third option, he said finally. Which is, Elena asked. We give him what he wants. The room went silent. You want to die? Lena asked. That's the plan? No, I want him to think I'm going to die. Then I come back and end this permanently. Elena closed her laptop. You're talking about faking your death. I'm talking about controlling the narrative. Volkov wants me gone. Fine. I go. He thinks he won. Drops his guard. Then we dismantle everything he's built while he's celebrating. That's insane, Lena said. That's strategy. You can't fake a death. People will know. Witnesses, evidence. Not if we do it right. A fire, explosion, something that leaves no body to examine. And then what? Marcus asked. You just disappear? Forever? For as long as it takes. Takes to do what? Destroy him. Russo's voice was ice. Every asset, every lieutenant, every connection he's got, I burn it all down. Then I come back and there's no one left to threaten me. Elena stood, paced to the window. It could work. High risk, but possible. High risk is an understatement, Lena said. What about us? Marcus and me? If you disappear, what stops Volkov from coming after us? You're not part of this. Once I'm dead, there's no reason to target you. Hayes knew about us. Sent those photos. Volkov probably knows too. Russo hesitated, just a fraction, but enough for Lena to see she was right. We'd have to make it convincing, he said, that you were collateral damage, that you didn't know anything. How do you make that convincing? By making sure you're nowhere near me when it happens. Send you somewhere safe, visible, away from Chicago. Anyone watching would see you're not involved. I don't want to leave, Marcus said. You don't have a choice. Everyone keeps saying that. I'm starting to think it's not true. Russo looked at him, really looked. You want to stay? In the middle of this? I want my sister safe, which means staying where I can see her. Not getting shipped off to some safe house while you play dead and she worries herself sick. Marcus, Lena started. No, I'm serious. We've been through worse. We stick together. Lena wanted to argue, wanted to protect him like she always had, but the look in his eyes stopped her. He wasn't a kid anymore, hadn't been for a long time, and maybe treating him like one wasn't protecting him, just insulting him. Okay, she said quietly, we stick together. Russo watched them both, something shifting in his expression. Respect, maybe, or recognition. Fine, he said. You stay, but you follow every order I give. No questions, no hesitation. Agreed? They nodded. Good. Then here's what we do. The plan took shape over the next 2 hours. Russo laid it out piece by piece, Elena filling in gaps, Marcus occasionally asking questions that somehow made everything clearer. It was complicated, Dangerous, required precise timing and a lot of luck. But it might work. The core was simple. Stage an explosion at one of Russo's warehouses. Make it look like a hit gone right. Russo would be inside, supposedly inspecting inventory. The blast would be catastrophic. No survivors. No bodies recovered. Heat too intense. Destruction too complete. We'll need witnesses, Elena said. People who saw you go in. Marco and 2 others, loyal, trustworthy. And after, I'm Ghost. New identity, new location. I stay dead until Volkov's network is dismantled. How long will that take? Months. Maybe a year. Lena's stomach dropped. A year. Of Russo being gone. Of living in uncertainty, wondering if he was alive, if the plan worked, if Volkov discovered the truth. What about Hayes? She asked. And Rook? Hayes gets turned over to the FBI. Anonymous tip. They'll find enough evidence to put him away for years. Rook. Russo paused. Rook is more complicated. You're going to kill him, Marcus said, not a question. I'm going to make sure he can't talk, whatever that takes. Lena wanted to feel horrified, should feel horrified, but all she felt was tired acceptance. This was Russo's world. These were the rules, and moral outrage didn't change them. When does this happen? She asked. Tomorrow night. Gives us time to prep, get everything in place. That's fast. Has to be. Longer we wait, more chance Volkov moves first. Elena pulled up blueprints of the warehouse, started marking entry points, camera locations, blast radius. Marcus watched, absorbing everything. Lena just felt numb. This was really happening. Russo was going to fake his death, disappear, and she'd probably never see him again. The thought hurt more than it should. Evening came. Elena left to coordinate with the team. Marco brought dinner, Chinese food that nobody ate much of. The penthouse felt heavy with anticipation, like the air before a storm. Around 10 p.m., Russo found Lena on the balcony. She'd needed air, space to think. You okay? He asked. No. Fair. He leaned against the railing beside her. Below, the city sprawled. Millions of lives, each one a story, most of them simpler than hers. I keep thinking this is a dream, Lena said. Like I'll wake up and it'll be a week ago. I'll be standing outside Marcello's waiting for a delivery ping. None of this will have happened. Would that be better? I don't know. Maybe. You'd still be struggling, still be worried about rent, Marcus's medication. All the same problems. Yeah, but they'd be my problems, normal ones. Normal's overrated. You said that before. Still true. She turned to look at him. His profile was sharp against the city lights. Are you scared? Of tomorrow? Of any of it? Volkov. Faking your death. Being alone for a year while you tear his world apart. Russo was quiet. Then, terrified. The admission surprised her. You don't seem it. I'm good at hiding it. Why hide? Because fear is weakness, and showing weakness gets you killed. Or it makes you human. Same thing in my world. Lena shook her head. Your world is exhausting. Told you that too. They stood in silence. The wind picked up, cold and sharp. Lena shivered. Russo shrugged off his jacket, draped it over her shoulders. The gesture was automatic, thoughtless, which somehow made it mean more. Thank you, she said. For what? Everything. Saving me. Protecting Marcus. Not treating us like we're idiots or liabilities. You're not either of those things. We're definitely liabilities. Maybe, but not idiots. She smiled despite everything. High praise. I don't give it often. I noticed. Another silence. Comfortable. Easy. Like they'd known each other years instead of days. Lena, Russo said quietly. Yeah? After tomorrow, when I'm gone, don't try to find me. Her chest tightened. I wasn't planning to. I mean it. No matter what happens, no matter what you hear, don't come looking. Why would I? Because you're stubborn and loyal and you don't give up on people. You're not my people, aren't I? She didn't have an answer for that, Russo turned to face her fully. His expression was serious, intent. You're going to be okay. You and Marcus. I'll make sure of it. Money in an account you can't trace to me. Enough to cover his treatment. Get you out of that apartment. Start over somewhere better. I don't want your money. You need it. That's not the same as wanting it. Lena, I'm serious. I didn't ask for this. Any of it. And I don't want to be paid off like I'm some problem you're solving. That's not what this is. Then what is it? He hesitated. Whatever he wanted to say, he swallowed it. It's me making sure you're safe, that's all. And if I don't want safe? If I want… She stopped, didn't know how to finish. Want what? She looked at him. At the man who'd saved her life and complicated it beyond recognition, who was dangerous and kind and probably going to get himself killed trying to protect everyone but himself. Nothing, she said finally. Never mind. Lena. We should go inside, it's cold. She turned before he could respond, walked back into the penthouse, leaving his jacket on the railing. If he followed, she didn't hear it. That night, sleep was impossible. Again, Lena lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying the conversation, wishing she'd been braver, said what she meant, asked him not to go. But that was selfish, stupid. He wasn't hers, had never been hers, was just someone who'd been in the wrong place at the right time, or the right place at the wrong time. She couldn't decide which. Around 3 a.m., she gave up. Pulled on a robe, padded to the kitchen, found Marcus already there, glass of water in hand. Can't sleep either? She asked. Nope. Want to talk about it? Not really. They sat in silence, brother and sister, partners in survival, like always. This is crazy, Marcus said eventually. Yeah, but it might work. Might. You scared? Terrified. Me too. Lena reached across the table, took his hand. He squeezed back. We're going to be okay, she said. You always say that. And we always are, eventually. Counts. Marcus smiled slightly. You like him? Who? Don't play dumb. Russo. Lena pulled her hand back. That's not, it's okay if you do. He's not terrible, for a criminal. High bar. I'm serious, he could have dumped us on the street. Didn't. That means something. It means he's pragmatic. It means he cares, even if he won't admit it. Lena didn't know what to say to that, because maybe Marcus was right. Maybe Russo did care. But what difference did it make? Tomorrow he'd be gone, and caring didn't change that. Doesn't matter, she said. After tomorrow, we'll never see him again. You don't know that. Yeah, I do. Marcus studied her. You could ask him to stay. He can't stay. Volkov would kill him. So you're just giving up? I'm being realistic. Since when are you realistic? You're the one who said we'd keep the apartment when everyone told us we couldn't. Who said I'd walk again when the doctors said I wouldn't? Marcus. Who said we'd make it through everything when the whole world said we'd fail? Now you're giving up because some Russian gangster might kill the guy you like? I don't like him, and it's not that simple. It's exactly that simple. You're scared, so you're pretending you don't care. That's not… It is, and it's stupid. Lena stared at him. When had he gotten so perceptive, so willing to call her out? What am I supposed to do? She asked quietly. Beg him not to go? Tell him what? That I care about him? That doesn't change anything. Maybe it does. Maybe he's scared too. Dante Russo doesn't get scared. Everyone gets scared. He said so himself. Lena wanted to argue, but Marcus was right. Russo had admitted it earlier, on the balcony, when he thought nobody was listening. It doesn't matter, she said. This is his world, his fight. I'm collateral. Someone who got caught in the crossfire. You're more than that? You know you are. Do I? Yeah, you do. They sat in silence. Lena's mind raced. What if Marcus was right? What if she told Russo the truth, that she didn't want him to go, that the thought of not seeing him again hurt more than getting shot had? What would he say? Probably nothing. Probably just look at her with those dark, unreadable eyes and tell her it didn't change anything, that this was how it had to be. I'm going to bed, she said. Lena, I'll think about it, okay? I'll think. That's all I'm asking. She went back to her room, lay down, stared at the ceiling some more. She didn't sleep. Morning came gray and cold, the kind of day that felt like an omen. Lena showered, dressed, went through the motions. Elena arrived early with final preparations. Russo was already in his office, on the phone, voice low and tense. The warehouse explosion was scheduled for 7 p.m. Everything had to be perfect. Timing, witnesses, the fire department's response. One mistake and the whole plan collapsed. Around noon, Russo emerged. Looked exhausted. He'd probably been up all night too. Elena's going over final checks, he told Lena and Marcus. I need you both packed, ready to move if things go wrong. Where would we go? Lena asked. Safe house outside the city. Elena knows the location. If I give the signal, you go. No arguments. What's the signal? You'll know it. Not comforting, but nothing about this was. The afternoon dragged. Marco brought lunch. Nobody ate. Elena paced, phone constantly to her ear, coordinating teams. Russo reviewed the plan again. And again. Looking for flaws, weaknesses, points of failure. Around 5 p.m., he called everyone together. Last chance to back out, he said, looking at Lena and Marcus specifically. You can leave. Go to the safe house now. Wait this out. We're staying, Lena said. You're sure? No, but we're staying anyway. Marcus nodded agreement. Okay. Russo turned to Elena. Status? Team's in position. Warehouse is set. Charges are ready. Witnesses are briefed. Fire department will receive the call at 7:05, police at 7:10. We've got a 20-minute window. 20 minutes to get clear, say, should be enough. Should isn't will. It's what we've got. Russo nodded. Marco, you're with me. Lena, Marcus, you stay here with Elena. Do not leave this building. Understood? Understood, Lena said. I mean it. No matter what happens, no matter what you hear, you stay put. We will. He looked at her, held her gaze, something passing between them, unspoken, heavy. Then he turned and left. Marco followed. The elevator doors closed. Elena immediately went back to her laptop, pulled up surveillance feeds, the warehouse from 6 different angles. Empty. Waiting. Lena sat on the couch. Marcus wheeled beside her. They watched the screens, 6:30. Russo's car pulled up to the warehouse. He got out, looked calm, controlled, like this was routine. 6:45. He entered the building, disappeared from exterior cameras. 6:50. Interior cameras showed him walking the floor, checking inventory, exactly like he'd said he would. 6:55. Marco stationed himself outside. Visible. A witness. 7 p.m. Nothing. 7:01. Still nothing. Lena's heart hammered. This was it. Any second now. 7:02. Flash of light on the screens, brilliant, white hot. Then the feed cut to static. Explosion, Elena said. Calm, clinical. Right on schedule. Lena couldn't breathe. She stared at the static, at the empty screens where the warehouse used to be. He was in there, in that building, in that explosion. Even knowing it was fake, her body didn't believe it. Panic clawed up her throat. Lena, Elena's voice cut through. Breathe, he's fine. This was the plan. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Dante doesn't make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Not him, not with this. The minutes crawled. 7:05. Sirens in the distance on the audio feeds. Fire trucks responding, 7:10. Police arrival, 7:15. Elena's phone rang. She answered, listened, hung up. He's clear, she said. Out the back, safe. Relief hit like a wave. Lena sagged against the couch. See? Marcus said quietly. Told you he'd be okay. But okay was relative, because now came the hard part, the year of hiding, of dismantling Volkov's empire piece by piece, of living as a ghost, and Lena wouldn't know if he survived any of it. The news picked up the story within an hour. Explosion at industrial warehouse. 1 fatality confirmed. Authorities investigating. No word yet on the victim's identity. By 9 p.m., Russo's name was everywhere. Dante Russo, prominent businessman, killed in suspicious warehouse explosion. Police suspect foul play. Investigation ongoing. Lena watched the coverage with a sick feeling in her stomach. It looked real, felt real. The reporters believed it. The police believed it. Soon, Volkov would believe it too, and then the real work would begin. Elena closed her laptop around 10. That's it. We're done here. What happens now? Lena asked. Now you go home. Resume your life. Forget this happened. Just like that? Just like that. What about the money Russo mentioned? Already deposited. Untraceable account. You'll receive instructions tomorrow. I told him I didn't want it. And he ignored you. Take the money, Lena. Use it. That's what he wanted. Lena wanted to argue. But what was the point? Russo was gone. His wishes carried more weight than her pride. What about you? Marcus asked Elena. I'm Ghost too. Different city, different name. Dante and I will stay in contact, but loosely, carefully. And Hayes? Rook? Hayes is in FBI custody as of an hour ago. Anonymous tip with enough evidence to put him away for 20 years. Rook. Elena's expression went flat. Rook won't be a problem. Lena didn't ask what that meant. Didn't want to know. Marco drove them home around midnight. The streets were quiet. Chicago looked the same as it always had, like the last week hadn't happened, like Lena's life hadn't been torn apart and stitched back together wrong. Their apartment building loomed ahead, familiar, shabby. Home. Marco pulled up to the curb. You need help getting inside? We're fine, Lena said. There's a contact number in your phone. Anything goes wrong, you call it. Okay. I mean it, anything. We will. He waited until they were inside before driving away. Lena and Marcus took the elevator, miraculously working for once, up to the 4th floor. The hallway smelled like old carpet and somebody's burnt dinner. Lena unlocked their door, stepped inside. Everything was exactly as they'd left it. Dishes in the sink, Marcus's gaming setup in the corner, her jacket on the chair. A week ago. A lifetime ago. Marcus wheeled to his room. I'm exhausted. Yeah, me too. You okay? Ask me tomorrow. Fair. He disappeared. Lena stood in the living room feeling untethered, lost, like she'd left something important behind and couldn't remember what. Her phone buzzed. New message. Unknown number. She opened it. You're safe now. Stay that way. D. Her hands shook. She typed back, Are you? The response came immediately. Defined safe, alive, unhurt. For now. That's not comforting. Wasn't meant to be. Lena stared at the screen, wanted to say so many things. Ask when she'd see him again. Tell him she didn't want his money, didn't want safety, just wanted... Wanted what? Him? A life that made sense? Answers she'd never get? Thank you, she typed. For everything. The response took longer this time. Don't thank me yet. Why not? Because this isn't over. Not really. What does that mean? But no response came. She waited 10 minutes. 20. Nothing. Finally, she set down the phone, went to bed, lay in the dark listening to the familiar sounds of home. Traffic outside. Marcus's breathing through the wall. The radiator clanking. Normal, safe, boring. Everything she'd wanted a week ago. Now it felt like a cage. She closed her eyes, tried to sleep, failed. Somewhere out there, Russo was beginning his war, dismantling Volkov piece by piece, risking everything. And she was here, safe, protected, useless. The thought burned. 3 weeks passed like months. Lena went back to delivering food. Same routes, same restaurants, same customers who never tipped enough. Like nothing had changed, except everything had. The money Russo promised appeared in her account exactly when Elena said it would. Enough to cover 6 months of rent, Marcus's medications, and then some. Lena stared at the number for an hour before accepting it. Pride was expensive. Survival won. She moved them to a better apartment. Still not fancy, Just cleaner, safer, with an elevator that actually worked. Marcus got a bigger room. She got sleep that didn't come with sirens and shouting through the walls. Normal life. The kind she'd wanted. It felt wrong. Marcus noticed first. He always did. "You're different," he said one morning over breakfast. Cereal, toast, coffee that tasted like actual coffee instead of burnt water. Different how? Distracted, like you're waiting for something. I'm not. You check your phone every 5 minutes. I do not. He gestured at her hand. She was holding her phone. Again. She set it down, embarrassed. Okay, maybe I'm a little distracted. You miss him. I don't. That's not. Lena, it's been 3 weeks. You haven't heard anything, and you're going crazy. He wasn't wrong. The last message from Russo had been that cryptic exchange the first night home. Since then, nothing. Radio silence. She didn't know if he was alive, if the plan was working, if Volkov suspected the truth. The not knowing was eating her alive. I'm fine, she lied. You're really not. What am I supposed to do? I can't contact him. Elena said no communication unless absolutely necessary, so I wait. That's all I can do. Or you could stop waiting and start living. I am living. You're existing. There's a difference. Lena pushed her cereal around the bowl. When did you get so philosophical? Had a lot of time to think. Being stuck in a chair does that. Marcus, I'm serious. You saved me. Got us out of that mess. Made sure we're safe. Now you need to let yourself be safe too. I am safe. Physically, but you're not okay. And pretending doesn't change that. She wanted to argue, but the words wouldn't come. Because he was right. She wasn't okay. Hadn't been since Russo walked into that warehouse and disappeared. Her phone buzzed. She grabbed it reflexively. Just a delivery notification. Not him. Never him. Marcus wheeled closer, put his hand over hers. If you need to reach out, reach out. Screw Elena's rules. I can't. If Volkov's watching, any contact could expose him. Then what? You just suffer in silence? If that's what keeps him alive, yeah. Marcus sighed. You're stubborn. Learn from the best. Dad wasn't stubborn. He was practical. Same thing. Not even close. They finished breakfast in silence. Lena cleaned up. Marcus went to his online classes. She had 3 hours before her first delivery. Time to kill. Time to think. She tried not to think, failed. The news had moved on from Russo's death. 1 week of speculation, organized crime, rival factions, unsolved murder, then nothing. Other stories took over. Life went on. Somewhere, Russo was watching those same stories, planning his next move, dismantling Volkov's empire piece by piece. Or he was dead, really dead, and Elena was too loyal or too scared to tell her. Lena shoved that thought away. He'd promised to stay alive, and for reasons she didn't want to examine, she believed him. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Her heart jumped. She answered. Hello? Lena Carter? A woman's voice, professional, clipped. Who's asking? My name is Agent Sarah Chen, FBI. I'd like to speak with you about Detective Raymond Hayes. Lena's stomach dropped. I don't know anything about that. I think you do. You were involved in an incident 3 weeks ago, outside Marcello's restaurant. You were shot. Random violence. Was it? Because Detective Hayes has been very talkative since his arrest. And your name came up. I don't, Miss Carter, I'm not accusing you of anything, but Hayes claims you can corroborate certain details about his connection to organized crime. I'd like to hear your version. Lena's mind raced. What had Hayes said? What did the FBI know? And more importantly, would talking to them expose Russo? I need to think about it, she said. Of course, but sooner is better than later. Hayes is offering testimony in exchange for a reduced sentence. If his information is accurate, we can dismantle significant criminal networks. Your cooperation could help. I'll think about it, Lena repeated. Here's my number. Call me when you're ready. Agent Chen rattled off digits. Lena pretended to write them down. Then the agent hung up. Lena stood frozen in her kitchen, phone clutched in her hand. The FBI. asking questions, connecting dots. This was bad. She needed to call Elena, needed advice, but the contact number came with strict instructions. Emergencies only. Was this an emergency? Yes. Definitely yes. She dialed. Elena answered on the first ring. What's wrong? FBI just called. Agent Chen, asking about Hayes, about me. Elena swore, softly but viciously. What did you tell her? Nothing. Said I'd think about it. Good. Don't call her back. Don't engage. Well, she said Hayes is talking, giving testimony. He's a rat trying to save himself. Anything he says about you is a lie. But what if they push? What if they subpoena me? Then you get a lawyer, plead the fifth, give them nothing. That makes me look guilty. You're not guilty of anything except surviving. Let me handle this. How? By making sure Hayes' testimony doesn't include you. I've got people who can apply pressure. Make him rethink his cooperation. Lena didn't want to know what that meant. Will it work? It better. Dante went through hell to keep you clear of this. I'm not letting some dirty cop ruin that. Is he okay? Dante, I mean... Silence on the other end, long enough that Lena's chest tightened. Elena? He's alive. That's all I can tell you. That's not enough. It's all you're getting. The less you know, the safer you are. I hate that logic. So does everyone. Doesn't make it wrong. Elena hung up. Lena stared at her phone. Alive. That was something. Not much, but something. She tried to go about her day. Failed spectacularly. The deliveries were mechanical. Drive, pick up, drop off, repeat. Her mind was elsewhere, wondering what Russo was doing, if he was safe, if he thought about her. Probably not. He had bigger problems. That night, she couldn't sleep. Again. The apartment was quiet. Marcus snored softly in his room. The city hummed outside. And Lena lay awake thinking about explosions and empty promises and men who disappeared into shadows. Around 2 a.m., her phone buzzed. Message from the unknown number, the one that had been silent for 3 weeks. Need to see you, tomorrow, noon, Navy Pier, come alone. Her heart stopped, then started again, faster. She typed back immediately. Is this safe? No. Come anyway. Why? Because I asked. Not an answer, but somehow enough. Okay, she typed. I'll be there. No response. She didn't expect one. Sleep was impossible after that. She lay in bed watching the ceiling, counting hours. When morning finally came, she was exhausted and wired and probably making a huge mistake. She told Marcus she had a long delivery shift. He didn't believe her. She could see it in his eyes, but he didn't push. Just told her to be careful. Always am, she said. That's a lie, and we both know it. Yeah, but it sounded good. Navy Pier at noon was crowded. Tourists, families, couples taking selfies by the lake. Lena moved through them, scanning faces, looking for one she'd recognize. She found him near the far end, leaning against the railing, staring at the water. Different clothes, jeans, hoodie, baseball cap pulled low, beard he hadn't had before. But the posture was unmistakable. Russo. She approached slowly, stopped a few feet away. You changed your look, she said. Had to. Dead men don't usually walk around Chicago. Fair point. He turned to face her. The beard made him look older, rougher. But his eyes were the same, dark, intense, tired. You shouldn't have come, he said. You asked me to. I shouldn't have done that either. And yet here we are. He almost smiled. Here we are. They stood in awkward silence. Around them, people laughed and ate overpriced food and enjoyed a normal Saturday, oblivious. Why did you want to see me? Lena asked. Needed to know you were okay, that Hayes talking to the FBI wasn't causing problems. Lena said she'd handle it. She will, but I wanted to hear it from you. I'm fine, mostly. Mostly? FBI called. I didn't talk, but they're pushing. Russo's jaw tightened. I'll make sure they stop. How? Better you don't know? Everyone keeps saying that. Because it's true. Lena turned to face the water. Lake Michigan stretched endless and gray. How's it going, your war with Volkov? Slowly. He's careful, paranoid. But I'm making progress. What kind of progress? 3 of his supply lines shut down. 2 lieutenants arrested. 1 warehouse raided by DEA. You're behind all that? Anonymous tips, strategic leaks, nothing traced to me. How long until he's finished? Months, maybe longer. He's got resources I didn't account for. And you? Are you safe? He hesitated. Define safe. You know what I mean. I'm alive. That's the best I can promise. She wanted to ask more, wanted details, reassurance, something concrete. But his expression was closed, guarded, the same walls he'd had up in the penthouse. You didn't come here just to check on me, she said. No. Then why? He looked at her, really looked, like he was trying to memorize her face. Because I needed to see you, he said quietly, needed to know this was real, that I didn't imagine the whole thing. The explosion? The plan? You, us, whatever the hell happened between us. Lena's breath caught. Nothing happened. Liar. Dante, I know this is insane. Meeting here, risking exposure, but I've been underground for 3 weeks, and the only thing keeping me sane is knowing you're okay, that I didn't get you killed. You saved my life. I ruined it. No, you complicated it. There's a difference. He laughed, short, bitter. Complicated. That's generous. I'm a generous person. You're a stubborn person who doesn't know when to walk away. Sounds like someone else I know. They fell quiet. The wind picked up, cold off the lake. Lena shivered. Russo moved closer, blocking the wind with his body. The gesture was automatic, protective. You should go, he said. Being seen with me is dangerous. For who? Me or you? Both. Then we're both taking the same risk. Lena, stop. Just stop pushing me away. I'm here. You asked me to come, so let me be here. He stared at her, something shifting in his expression, softening. You're going to get hurt, he said. Probably. But that's my choice. It's a stupid choice. Maybe, but it's mine. He reached out, hesitated, then tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. The touch was gentle, careful, like she might break. I can't give you normal, he said quietly. I can't give you safe or simple or any of the things you deserve. I didn't ask for normal. You should. Too late. It's not. You could still walk away. Forget this. Forget me. Could you? Forget me? He didn't answer, which was answer enough. Lena stepped closer, close enough to feel his warmth. I don't know what this is, what we are, but I know I can't stop thinking about you, wondering if you're alive, if you're safe, if you regret saving me. I don't regret it. Then stop telling me to leave. I'm trying to protect you. I don't want protection. I want... She stopped, didn't know how to finish. Want what? His voice was rough, low. You, this, whatever insane thing is happening between us. He closed his eyes. That's a terrible idea. Probably the worst I've ever had. You'll get hurt, or worse. So will you. I'm used to it. That doesn't make it okay. He opened his eyes, looked at her with such intensity it felt physical. I'm trying to do the right thing here. Since when do you care about right? Since I met you. The words hit like a punch, honest, raw, everything she'd wanted to hear and terrified of at the same time. Dante. He kissed her. It wasn't gentle, wasn't careful, was desperate and messy and tasted like 3 weeks of silence and loneliness. Lena's hands found his jacket, pulled him closer. His arms wrapped around her, solid and real and alive. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Russo rested his forehead against hers. This is stupid, he whispered. Yeah. You should run, far and fast. Not going to. I know. They stood like that for a long moment. Then reality crashed back. The crowd around them, the risk, the impossibility of what they were doing. Russo pulled back. You need to go, before someone recognizes me. When will I see you again? I don't know. Soon. Maybe. That's not a plan. It's all I've got. Lena wanted to argue, wanted guarantees and schedules and something solid to hold on to. But she'd known from the beginning this wouldn't be simple. Be safe, she said. You too. I mean it. Don't die. Wasn't planning on it. You said that before. Still true. She forced herself to step back, to turn away. Walking away was physically painful. Lena, he called. She stopped, looked back. Thank you, he said, for coming, for not running. Thank me when this is over. Deal. She left him standing by the railing. Didn't look back again. If she did, she wouldn't be able to leave. The train ride home was a blur. Her mind replayed this kiss on loop, his hands in her hair, the desperation in his voice, the impossibility of wanting something she couldn't have. Marcus was in the living room when she got home, took one look at her face and said, You saw him. How did you... You have a look, happy and terrified at the same time. Lena collapsed on the couch. I'm an idiot. Probably. What happened? He kissed me. And? And I kissed him back. Sounds good so far. Marcus, he's supposed to be dead. He's fighting a war with the Russian mob, and I just complicated everything by caring about him. You already cared about him. You just admitted it. That's not helpful. Wasn't trying to be helpful, just honest. Lena buried her face in her hands. What am I doing? Living, finally. This isn't living. This is chaos. Same thing sometimes. She looked at him through her fingers. When did you get so wise? Always was. You just never listened. But despite everything, she laughed. Fair. Marcus wheeled closer. You like him. He likes you. That's not complicated. Everything about this is complicated. Only if you make it complicated. The feeling part is simple. The feeling part is terrifying. Also simple. She pulled him into a hug. How are you so calm about this? Because you've spent your whole life taking care of me, making sure I'm safe. Maybe it's time you let someone take care of you. He's not taking care of me. He's fighting a war. And you're waiting for him. That's taking care of each other. Lena didn't have a response to that. The next 2 days were quiet. No calls from the FBI, no messages from Russo, just work and worry and trying to pretend everything was normal. Then, on the third day, the news broke. Major bust in organized crime network. Federal agents arrested 15 people connected to Russian mob activities, drugs, weapons, money laundering. The operation had been months in the making, authorities said. A significant blow to Chicago's criminal underworld. Lena watched the coverage with her heart in her throat. Russo's work had to be. Feeding information to law enforcement, dismantling Volkov's empire piece by piece, but the biggest name wasn't mentioned. Alexei Volkov remained free. That night, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Did you see the news? She typed back, yeah, 15 arrests, but not the one that matters. Soon. He's running scared, making mistakes. How do you know? Because I'm pushing him. Hard. Be careful. Always. That's a lie. Yeah, but it sounded good. She smiled despite her anxiety. He'd stolen her line. When will this be over? Weeks? Maybe less. He's losing resources. Can't protect himself much longer. And then? Then I come back. For real this time. Promise? Yeah. I promise. Lena stared at the message. Wanted to believe it. Wanted to think there was an end to this. A future where Russo wasn't hiding. Where they could figure out whatever this thing between them was. I miss you, she typed. Then deleted it. Too much. Too vulnerable. Stay safe, she sent instead. You too. The messages stopped, but the feeling didn't. She missed him, missed someone she'd known for less than a week, someone who'd turned her life upside down. It was stupid, reckless, completely insane. She didn't care. Another week passed. More arrests. More news coverage. The FBI was calling it Operation Clean Sweep, the biggest organized crime bust in Chicago history, and still no Volkov. Lena went through the motions, deliveries, meals with Marcus, sleep that came in fits and starts, waiting, always waiting. Then, 10 days after their meeting at Navy Pier, her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered without thinking. Lena Carter. Not a question, a statement, male voice, accent she couldn't place. Who is this? A friend of Dante Russo, or rather, someone who wants to discuss his very not dead status. Ice flooded her veins. I don't know what you're talking about. Please. The explosion was clever, the fake death convincing, but I'm not stupid, and neither is my employer. Who's your employer? You know who, and he'd very much like to speak with Russo. Since Russo is currently pretending to be a corpse, you'll have to deliver a message. I don't... Tell him Volkov knows. Tell him the game is over. And tell him if he doesn't surface in 48 hours, people he cares about start dying, starting with you. The line went dead. Lena's hands shook. She dialed Elena's number. No answer. Tried again. Nothing. She called the unknown number Russo had been texting from. Straight to voicemail. Panic clawed up her throat. They knew. Volkov knew Russo was alive. And they were threatening her to draw him out, which meant Russo would come, would walk into whatever trap they'd set, would get himself killed trying to protect her. She had to warn him, had to find a way to reach him before he did something stupid. Her phone buzzed. Text from Russo's number. I know, already on my way. Stay inside, lock the doors. Elena's sending protection. Don't come, she typed frantically. It's a trap. I know that too. Then why? Because they threatened you. That's not negotiable. Dante, please, I'll be fine. Trust me. I do trust you. That's not the point. Then what is? I don't want you to die for me. Long pause. Then, too late. Already decided. She wanted to scream, wanted to reach through the phone and shake him. You're being stupid, probably, but you're worth it. I'm not. Yeah, you are. The messages stopped. Lena sat frozen in her living room, phone clutched in shaking hands. He was coming, walking into danger, for her, and there was nothing she could do to stop him. Marcus wheeled into the room, saw her face. What happened? She told him. Everything. The call. The threat. Russo's response. He's going to get killed, she finished, voice breaking. Maybe. Or maybe he's got a plan. His plans keep almost getting him killed. But they haven't. Not yet. That's not comforting. It's all we've got. A knock at the door. Hard, authoritative. Lena jumped. Miss Carter, Marco sent me. I'm here to keep you safe. She recognized the voice, one of Russo's men from the penthouse. She opened the door. Two large men stood outside, armed, professional. We're not leaving until this is over, the first one said. Boss's orders. Lena nodded. Let them in. They positioned themselves by the windows, the door, creating a perimeter. Marcus looked at her. Now what? Now we wait. And hope he knows what he's doing. He does. He always does. You sound sure. I am. He's not going to let anything happen to you. To us. Lena wanted to believe him. Wanted to think Russo was invincible. That this would end with everyone alive and safe. But she'd seen too much. Knew too well how quickly things went wrong. All she could do was wait and pray that Russo's luck held one more time. Because if it didn't, she'd never forgive herself for being the reason he died. The hours crawled. Lena paced until the guards told her to sit down. She was making them nervous. Marcus tried to distract her with TV, conversation, anything. Nothing worked. Her mind kept circling back to Russo, walking into Volkov's trap, outnumbered, outgunned, doing it anyway because some Russian mobster had threatened her. It was romantic and stupid in equal measure. Around 9 p.m., her phone buzzed. Elena. Are you safe? No preamble, just the question. Yeah, your guys are here. What's happening? Dante's meeting Volkov at the old grain warehouse on the south side. Midnight, neutral ground, supposedly. You believe that? No, which is why we've got teams positioning now. Volkov wants a confrontation. We'll give him one. On our terms. How many people does Volkov have? Too many. But we've got advantages. Better intel. Better positioning. And Dante. That's not comforting. It should be. You've seen what he can do. I've seen him get shot. Barely. And he walked away. He'll walk away from this too. Lena wanted to believe her. What do you need from me? Stay put. Stay quiet. Let us handle this. That's all? That's everything. Dante can't focus if he's worried about you. So be safe. Be boring. Let him do what he does best. Which is? Survive. Elena hung up. Lena sat on the couch, phone in her lap, staring at nothing. Marcus wheeled over. She's right. He'll be okay. You don't know that. Neither do you. So might as well believe the version that doesn't end badly. When did you become an optimist? When being pessimistic stopped helping. One of the guards cleared his throat. Miss Carter, if it helps, the boss has survived worse than this. Guy's got more lives than a cat. How many lives does a cat have? Lena asked. 9. How many has he used? The guard paused. At least 7. That's not helping. Sorry. The clock ticked toward midnight. Each minute felt like an hour. Lena checked her phone obsessively. No new messages, no updates, just silence. At 11:30, Marcus fell asleep in his chair. Exhaustion finally winning. Lena envied him. Her mind wouldn't shut off long enough to rest. 11:45, 11:50. Midnight. Her phone stayed silent. 12:15. Still nothing. 12:30. Lena was ready to climb the walls. Then, at 12:43, her phone rang. Elena. She answered. What happened? It's done. Relief flooded through her. Dante's okay? Alive, breathing, bleeding a little, but nothing serious. What about Volkov? In custody. FBI picked him up 20 minutes ago. Anonymous tip with enough evidence to put him away for life, along with what's left of his organization. So it's over? Yeah, it's over. Lena's legs gave out. She sat hard on the couch. Really over? Really, Dante's coming to you now. Should be there in 30 minutes. He's coming here? Apparently you're the first person he wants to see. Can't imagine why. There was amusement in Elena's voice. Lena ignored it. Is he okay? You said he's bleeding. Grazed to the ribs. Medic patched him up. He's fine. Stubborn and refusing to go to a hospital, but fine. That sounds like him. It really does. Elena hung up. Lena sat in the quiet apartment processing. Over. It was actually over. Volkov arrested. Russo alive. The nightmare finished. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. One of the guards smiled. Told you. More lives than a cat. Yeah, you did. She must have dozed off because the next thing she knew, someone was knocking. Gentle but insistent. The guards moved to answer. She heard low voices. Then Russo stepped into the apartment. He looked terrible. Clothes torn and bloody, bruise forming on his jaw, moving carefully like his ribs hurt, but alive. Whole. Real. Lena crossed the room before she consciously decided to move. Threw her arms around him. He grunted. Pain or surprise, she couldn't tell, but his arms came up, wrapped around her, held tight. You're okay, she whispered into his chest. Told you I would be. You're bleeding. Barely. That's becoming a pattern. I'm consistent. She pulled back enough to look at him. His face was a mess. Dirt and blood and exhaustion, but his eyes were clear, alive. What happened? She asked. Long story. Can I sit? Ribs are killing me. She helped him to the couch. The guards quietly excused themselves to the hallway. Marcus was still asleep in his chair, snoring softly. Russo sat with a wince. Volkov set up at the warehouse like we expected. Had maybe 20 guys. Thought he had the advantage. Did he? For about 5 minutes. Then Elena's teams moved in. FBI was waiting outside. We'd tipped them hours ago. Whole thing was a setup to get Volkov in one place with enough evidence to stick. And it worked? Mostly. He tried to run. I caught him. Russo touched his ribs gingerly. He didn't go quietly. Hence the bleeding. Hence the bleeding. Lena found the first aid kit under the sink, started cleaning the blood from his face. He sat still, watching her. You didn't have to come, she said. Could have sent Elena. I wanted to see you. You saw me 3 days ago. Felt longer. She smiled despite herself. You're impossible. You've mentioned that. She cleaned the worst of the dirt, checked the bandage on his ribs. The medic had done good work, tight, clean, professional. You're lucky, she said. I know. No, I mean really lucky. This could have gone so wrong. But it didn't. This time. He caught her hand, held it. Lena, it's over. Volkov's done. Hayes is locked up. Rook's gone. There's no one left to come after me. Until the next person. There won't be a next person. I'm done with this. All of it. She stared at him. What does that mean? It means I'm out. Selling everything. Liquidating assets. Walking away. From your empire? From the life that got you shot. That put Marcus in danger. That made me fake my own death. His voice was quiet, serious. I've been thinking about this for weeks. Underground, hiding, watching my back every second. And I realized I don't want this anymore. Don't want to live like this. What do you want? He looked at her, really looked. Honestly? Something normal, boring, safe? You'd be terrible at boring. Probably. But I'd like to try. Lena sat beside him. What would you do if you're not running a criminal empire? I don't know. Something legal for once, invest legitimately, maybe consult. I've got business skills that translate. He paused. Or maybe I just disappear. Find a small town somewhere. Open a bar. A bar? Why not? I like whiskey. Know how to talk to people. Seems peaceful. She laughed. Dante Russo. Bartender. That's an image. Better than Dante Russo. Corpse. Fair point. They sat in comfortable silence. Outside, Chicago hummed, the same city she'd always known, but different now, changed by everything that had happened. What about you? Russo asked. What do you want? I don't know anymore. A month ago, I wanted rent money and Marcus's medication covered. Now I've got that. And I don't know what comes next. You could do anything. Go back to school. Train for something better than delivery work. Maybe. Feels weird planning a future when the present's still settling. It'll settle. Give it time. She leaned against him, carefully avoiding his injuries. I'm glad you're alive. Me too. I mean it. When Volkov called, when he threatened me, I thought that was it. Thought you'd walk into a trap and I'd never see you again. I told you I'd come back. People say a lot of things. I keep my promises. She tilted her head to look at him. Do you? Try me. She kissed him, gentle this time, slow, not desperate like at Navy Pier, just right. His hand came up, cupped her face. When they broke apart, both smiling, Lena felt something settle in her chest, something that had been restless and anxious for weeks. So what happens now, she asked. Now I figure out how to be a normal person, probably fail spectacularly, but try anyway. And us? What about us? Is there an us? Russo was quiet for a moment. Do you want there to be? That's not an answer. It's a question, because I want there to be. But I'm a mess, Lena. I've done terrible things, hurt people, built an empire on blood and fear. You deserve better than that. Let me decide what I deserve. Okay, so what do you deserve? Honestly, I don't know, but I know I want to figure it out with you. If you're willing, I'm willing. Might take time, might be complicated. Everything's complicated. Fair. Marcus stirred in his chair, blinked awake, saw Russo on the couch and grinned. You're alive. Apparently. Told Lena you would be. She didn't believe me. I believed you, Lena protested. You stressed-paced for 4 hours. That's not believing. That's concern. There's a difference. Russo laughed, winced, laughed again. Your sister's stubborn. Must tell me about it, Marcus said. Spent my whole life dealing with it. Hey, Lena said. I'm right here. We know, they said in unison. She rolled her eyes. Great, you're bonding. That's just what I needed. But she was smiling. Because this felt right. Marcus joking, Russo alive and bleeding on her couch, the crisis over, the future uncertain but possible. The guards came back inside. FBI's outside. Want to take your statement, boss? Russo sighed. Of course they do. Want us to tell them you're unavailable? No, might as well get it over with. He stood carefully. Lena stood with him. You don't have to do this alone. I'm not. You're here. I meant the FBI. Oh, yeah, probably should handle that solo. Less complicated. He kissed her forehead. I'll be back. Probably an hour. Then we can talk about what comes next. Okay. He left with the guards. The apartment felt empty without him. Lena sat on the couch. Marcus wheeled over. You love him, he said. That's not... Lena, you do. It's obvious. She wanted to deny it, but the words wouldn't come. Maybe. I don't know. It's too soon. Dad loved Mom after 3 days. Sometimes you just know. That's a fairy tale. Maybe. But it's also true. Lena thought about that. About love and timing and knowing. She'd known Russo less than a month. Most of that he'd been in hiding or presumed dead. But Marcus was right. She knew, felt it in her chest. Terrifying and real. What do I do? She asked. You tell him, eventually, when you're ready. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't. But at least you tried. Since when are you a relationship expert? Since I started watching you self-sabotage. I don't self-sabotage. You absolutely do, but maybe this time you won't. She pulled him into a hug. When did you get so smart? Always was. You just finally started listening. Russo came back 90 minutes later. Looked exhausted but relieved. FBI's satisfied. For now, they've got Volkov. That's all they really cared about. What did you tell them? That I was investigating Volkov independently, gathering evidence. Faked my death to avoid retaliation. Technically, not a lie. Just not the whole truth. Truth's overrated. Lena made coffee. They sat at her small kitchen table. Nothing like the penthouse, but infinitely more comfortable. Russo looked around, taking in the modest apartment. This is nice, he said. It's small. Small's good. Manageable. You lived in a penthouse. That was work. This is... He paused, searching for the word. Home. You've been here 20 minutes. Still feels more like home than anywhere I've been in years. Lena didn't know what to say to that, so she just squeezed his hand across the table. They talked for hours. About the future. About his plans to liquidate assets. About Marcus's treatment options now that money wasn't an issue. About Lena maybe going back to school. About mundane, normal things that felt revolutionary after weeks of chaos. Around 4 a.m., Marcus finally went to bed. Russo looked ready to collapse but didn't move. You should sleep, Lena said. Probably. There's a couch. Or I could go home. Except I don't have a home anymore. Penthouse is sold. Warehouse is evidence. Everything else is in Elena's name. So you're homeless, technically. That's sad. It's liberating, no attachments, no property to defend. Nowhere to sleep. Minor detail. Lena stood, extended her hand. Come on. Where? My room. You need sleep. I've got a bed. Lena, don't make it weird. You're exhausted. I'm exhausted. We're adults. We can share a bed without it being complicated. Everything about us is complicated. Then one more complication won't hurt. He took her hand, let her lead him to her room. It was small, barely fit the bed and a dresser, but it was clean and the sheets were soft, and when Russo lay down, he was asleep in seconds. Lena curled up beside him, careful of his injuries. His breathing evened out, steady, alive. She fell asleep listening to it. Morning came gentle, sunlight through thin curtains. The smell of coffee, Marcus must have started a pot, and Russo still beside her, awake but not moving. "Morning," she mumbled. "Morning." "How long have you been awake?" "Whoa." "An hour, maybe 2. Why didn't you get up?" "Didn't want to wake you." She rolled over to face him. His bruises looked worse in daylight, purple and ugly, but his eyes were clear. "How do you feel?" she asked. "Like I got hit by a truck, but alive, so that's something." "Your ribs?" "Hurt, but manageable." She traced the edge of a bruise on his jaw, feather light. He closed his eyes. "I could get used to this," he said quietly. "To what?" "Waking up, without immediately calculating threats or checking security feeds or wondering who's coming for me. Just waking up. That's called normal life. It's nice. It can be boring. I'll risk it." They lay in comfortable silence. Then Russo's phone buzzed. He checked it, smiled. "Elena, Volkov's being transferred to federal holding. No bail. Trial set for 6 months from now. Will you have to testify?" "Probably, but as a concerned citizen who gathered evidence, not as whatever I actually was. A criminal mastermind? That's generous." "I try." He set down the phone, looked at her seriously. "I meant what I said last night, about being done, walking away. I know. It's not going to be easy. There are people who'll want answers, loose ends to tie up, legal issues to navigate. I know that too. And I'm going to need help. Someone who keeps me honest, reminds me why I'm doing this." "Are you asking me for something?" "Maybe, if you're willing." "Willing to what?" "Stick around, see where this goes. Give me a chance to be someone worth your time." Lena's chest tightened. "You're already worth my time. I'm a reformed criminal with trust issues and more baggage than an airport. I'm a delivery driver with a brother who needs constant care and enough of my own issues to fill a book. We're a mess. Yeah, we are. But maybe that's okay." "You think?" "I think perfect is overrated and boring, and we're definitely not boring." He pulled her closer, kissed her forehead. "No, we're definitely not boring." Marcus knocked on the door. "You two want breakfast? Or are you going to stay in there being disgustingly cute?" "We're getting up," Lena called. "That's what I thought." They got up, had breakfast, eggs and toast that Marcus insisted on making. Russo looked out of place in her small kitchen, too large for the space, but he adapted, helped clean up, joked with Marcus, acted almost normal. It was strange and perfect, and Lena found herself thinking this could work, this impossible thing between them. Over the next few weeks, Russo made good on his promises, sold his remaining assets, set up legitimate businesses, consulted for security firms. Ironic, he said, but profitable. He found an apartment, nothing fancy, just a 1-bedroom in a decent neighborhood. He and Lena saw each other constantly. Dinners, movies, long walks by the lake, normal couple things. Complicated by his past, by her caution, by the fact that they'd started in gunfire and chaos. But they made it work. Marcus thrived. The money from Russo's account paid for better treatment, physical therapy that actually helped. His mobility improved. Not miraculously, life didn't work that way, but measurably. He smiled more, complained less, seemed lighter. "You're happy," Lena said one night, 3 months after everything ended. "Yeah, I am." "Because of the treatment?" "But because we're safe. Because you're happy. Because I don't have to worry about rent or medication or whether we'll make it another month. We always made it. But it was hard. Now it's not. That's worth being happy about." She hugged him. "Yeah, it is." 6 months in, Russo asked her to move in with him. She said yes. They combined their lives, her modest furniture with his minimal possessions. Marcus got his own room, bigger than the old apartment, with a view. It wasn't perfect. Russo had nightmares sometimes. Woke up reaching for weapons that weren't there. Lena had moments of doubt. Wondered if she was crazy for trusting someone who'd built his life on violence. But they talked through it. Went to therapy. Russo's idea, surprisingly. Worked on being honest. Being open. being the kind of people who could build something real. A year after the explosion that faked his death, Russo took Lena back to Navy Pier. Same spot where he'd kissed her, where she'd realized she couldn't walk away. "Why here?" she asked. "Because this is where it started, really started. I thought it started when you carried me into Marcello's bleeding. That's when we met. This is when we chose each other." He pulled out a small box. Lena's breath caught. "I'm not good at this," he said. "The romantic gesture thing. But I know what I want. And I want you. Permanently. If you'll have me. Dante. I know I'm a disaster. I know my past is messy, and there are still people who'd prefer I stayed dead. But I'm trying to be better. Be someone you can build a life with. And I love you. Have for a while. Just took me time to say it." Lena's eyes burned. "You love me?" "Yeah,